Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales. Chapter 802. In the castle. About 100 breaths passed. Qin Feiyang let out a long breath and opened his eyes. He stood up and looked at Fatso. "It's about time, give me the 9 suns flower." "So fast?" Fatty was stunned for a moment before he asked, "Is that really okay?" "Cut the crap." Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him. Could he have some confidence in him? Fatso chuckled and took out a stalk of 9 suns flower and handed it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang turned and walked to the front of the Jiao Dragon cauldron. Without any hesitation, he opened the cauldron again. This time, he threw everything to the back of his mind. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to refine this little creation pill. A moment later, Qin Feiyang's mental strength surged and swept up the stalk of 9 suns flower, slowly placing it into the Jiao Dragon cauldron. Fatso and the others were also worried, afraid that they would fail again. However, as the person involved, Qin Feiyang was not nervous at all. He felt as though he was doing something extremely simple. His heart was as still as water without any ripples. The netherworld fiend flames rose. The temperature in the Jiao Dragon cauldron was controlled at 1/10 of the original temperature. It was extremely accurate. Gradually, specks of crystal light seeped out from the petals of the 9 suns flower. This was a sign that the spirit liquid was about to appear. Fatso and the others were also getting more nervous. That was because the 9 suns flower was scrapped at this moment. Time passed slowly. At this moment, for Fatso and the others, every breath was like a year. About 10 breaths passed. The 9 suns flower had already turned into ashes. A drop of crystal clear spirit liquid floated in the cauldron, emitting a strong medicinal fragrance. "It's a success." Fatso and the others were excited but did not dare to make a sound. That was because the little creation pill had a total of 33 herbs. As long as there was a single mistake, all their previous efforts would be wasted. Therefore, there could not be any accidents. At the same time, looking at the spiritual liquid of the 9 suns flower, Qin Feiyang did not show any emotion. He maintained a state of no joy, no sorrow, no desire, and no desire. He used his mental strength to protect the spiritual liquid while sweeping up the snow crystal and placing it into the Jiao Dragon cauldron. The fire required for the snow crystal was 30% of the 10%, slightly higher than the 9 sun flower. But at the same time, it was extremely difficult to control. However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang seemed to have fallen into a state of selflessness. Regardless of whether it was the control of the fire or the movements, there wasn't the slightest bit of sloppiness. Another 10 breaths passed. The spiritual liquid of the snow crystal was also successfully extracted. Looking at this scene, Fatty and the others were more or less at ease. Because he could see that the current Qin Feiyang had no distracting thoughts and would not fail again. The black dragon snake continued cultivating. Lu Hong, Fatso, and Wolf King also squatted on the ground and continued to organize the herbs. Only the double-winged snow eagle remained hovering behind Qin Feiyang. Looking at the drops of spiritual liquid continuously appearing, it became more and more excited. About 400 breaths passed. 33 drops of spiritual liquid floated in the Jiao Dragon cauldron, shining brightly. The whole castle was filled with an intoxicating medicinal fragrance. Only one step left. The double-winged snow eagle muttered secretly, its palm-sized body trembling. At the same time, it couldn't help but worry. If this last step failed, all the previous efforts would be wasted. However, Qin Feiyang did not panic at all, as if nothing could disturb him at this moment. The whole process was very smooth. Finally, he took out a drop of solidifying liquid and merged it with the spiritual liquid. In less than 5 breaths, a bright red medicinal pill condensed into form. The 5 pill patterns were like 5 dazzling halos, emitting thousands of rays of light. It's a success. Looking at the little creation pill, the double-winged snow eagle finally couldn't help but roar in excitement. Fatso and the others also raised their heads to look at Qin Feiyang, with a trace of a smile in their eyes. As long as he could refine the first little creation pill, then for Qin Feiyang, the future would be very simple. Unless there was a special situation, he would never waste any more medicinal herbs. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the little creation pill flew out of the furnace. But before he could reach out to grab it, the double-winged snow eagle took it away first. That pair of small eyes emitted a green light. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it, took a deep breath, and with a thought, the nether devil flame slowly quieted down. Next, he turned to look at the double-winged snow eagle and said, "Don't get too excited. Although the little creation pill has been refined, it may not be successful." "What do you mean?" The double-winged snow eagle was stunned and looked at him suspiciously. "The little creation pill is the same as the 9-turn dragon blood pill. The success rate is determined by the pill pattern. One pill pattern only has a 10% chance of success, and so on. Therefore, this little creation pill with 5 pill patterns only has a 50% chance of success." Qin Feiyang explained. "What?" The double-winged snow eagle was dumbfounded. His mood could not help but become uneasy. A 50% success rate meant that there was a 50% failure rate. Success and failure were equally divided. This was simply gambling on luck. At this time, Fatso also opened his mouth. "In addition, let me remind you one more thing, you still need the pressure of a war saint." The double-winged snow eagle's mood suddenly turned bad. Last time, it was because of the mysterious lady's help. But now, the mysterious lady had disappeared without a trace. Who would be kind enough to help it? Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, then smiled and said, "Don't worry about this problem, I have a way. You guys continue to organize the medicinal herbs, I'll go out with Eagle to see the situation." Finished. With a wave of his hand, he appeared in the forest with the double-winged snow eagle. The double-winged snow eagle looked around, then looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Do you really have a way?" Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it, and said, "When you encounter something difficult, don't always think about asking others for help, use your own brain and think about it." TSK. I knew you weren't reliable. The double-winged snow eagle looked down on him. "I'm not reliable?" Qin Feiyang's face darkened. He really couldn't understand, how could this bastard have the nerve to scold him? Whiz! Suddenly, the sound of something tearing through the air could be heard. Qin Feiyang raised his head to look at the sky. A moment later, streams of light flashed across the sky, all of them surging with auras. The leader was the guard commander of the Tianyang city. "It seems that they really guessed that I don't have the coordinates of the 4th area." Qin Feiyang frowned. The city lord had come, the guard commander had also come, and he had even brought a large group of 9 Star Wars sect guards with him. This was not a small matter. But suddenly, his eyes lit up as he looked at the double-winged snow eagle and laughed. "The method is with the guard commander, don't miss it." The double-winged snow eagle was startled, and looked suspiciously at the guard commander. This person was indeed a war saint, but it was obvious that he was here to kill them. How could he help it? Qin Feiyang lightly tapped his temples, and said, "I said before, you have to use your head to think. Can't you just say it?" The double-winged snow eagle looked at him unhappily, lowered its head, and fell into deep thought. Qin Feiyang said, "You have to hurry up, otherwise when he goes far away, you won't even be able to catch up." This could also be considered training the double-winged snow eagle. Although the double-winged snow eagle was following him now and had no intention of leaving, there would always be a time when they would part. If there was something in the future that required it to do alone, how could it do without a brain? Of course. He could also see that the double-winged snow eagle was not stupid, but just like Wolf King, it did not like to use its brain. In any case, you have to think of ways to force these guys. Isn't there a saying that goes like this? If you don't hit, you won't become anything. For the double-winged snow eagle, if you don't force yourself, you won't become anything. As a war saint, the leader of the guards was naturally very fast. In just a short while, he was about to disappear into the horizon. Qin Feiyang frowned. You still haven't thought of it? Can you not rush me? The double-winged snow eagle said angrily. It was very dissatisfied with Qin Feiyang. He clearly had a way, but he did not say it and forced it to think on its own. Wasn't this torture? Moreover, there was so little time, what could it think of? Got it. But in the next moment, an idea flashed in its mind, and it stored the small creation pill in its sea of qi. Without hesitation, it rushed into the sky and roared, "The people in front, come back." The roar was like thunder, resounding in all directions. The leader of the guards and the others were stunned. They all stopped in the void and turned to look at the double-winged snow eagle. His gaze suddenly turned cold. When he was at the Black Cloud Tribe and the White Cloud Tribe, he had seen the double-winged snow eagle, so he naturally recognized it at a glance. Whoosh! Immediately, a group of people flew over with murderous intent and surrounded the double-winged snow eagle. The leader of the guard scanned below and did not find Qin Feiyang hiding in the forest. He then looked at the double-winged snow eagle and said in a deep voice, "Where is Qin Feiyang?" The double-winged snow eagle said angrily, "Don't mention that bastard." Bastard? When Qin Feiyang heard this, his face could not help but twitch. He was not angry, and looked curiously at the double-winged snow eagle. He wanted to see what this guy had thought of. At the same time, the leader of the guards and the others were also stunned. Wasn't this snow eagle Qin Feiyang's partner? Why did its attitude suddenly become so bad? The leader of the guards frowned and asked, "What do you mean?" The double-winged snow eagle said, "Not long ago, didn't we loot the treasures of the Black Cloud Tribe and the White Cloud Tribe?" "Yes." The leader of the guards nodded. "You don't know, Qin Feiyang, that little bastard, actually took all the treasures. You say, if this emperor didn't help him, with his 7-star battle master cultivation, can he kill the leaders of the two tribes?" The double-winged snow eagle said with righteous indignation. The group of people looked at each other. It turned out that they had fallen out because of the unequal distribution of the loot. The leader of the guard's eyes flashed and nodded. "It is indeed a bit too much. Where is he now? Tell me, I will help you wash away the shame." "Really?" the double-winged snow eagle asked. The leader of the guards nodded. "That's good, with your help, we can definitely cut him into pieces." The double-winged snow eagle was overjoyed, and its eyes were filled with killing intent. The leader of the guards chuckled and said, "Then quickly tell me his whereabouts." "Okay." The double-winged snow eagle nodded, but then shook its head. No, this emperor can't tell you for free. How about this, give this emperor 100 spirit sea pills, 100 essence soul pills, and this emperor will tell you where he is hiding." Hearing this, the leader of the guard's face suddenly darkened. Isn't this asking for too much? You know, whether it was the spirit sea pill or the essence soul pill, they were both extremely rare and priceless. Not to mention him, the leader of the guards, probably even the city lord wouldn't be able to take out so much. The double-winged snow eagle said, "If you don't have it, then don't talk about it. Anyway, there are still many people who want to know the whereabouts of Qin Feiyang. This guy is smart." Qin Feiyang couldn't help but exclaim. If the leader of the guards really gave it to him, then he would have made a huge profit. If he didn't give it to him, he wouldn't lose anything. I only have 2 spirit sea pills and 3 essence soul pills on me. If you are willing to tell me, I will give them all to you. But if you want to take the opportunity to blackmail me, then let me tell you, I'm afraid you won't even get the last heal pill. The leader of the guards pondered for a moment and said, You're still threatening this emperor? Do you think this emperor is scared? No, is it? Then goodbye, don't send me off. The double-winged snow eagle sneered arrogantly, then flapped its wings and soared into the sky. You are courting death. The leader of the guards clenched his fists, and his saint aura suddenly burst out. He rushed toward the double-winged snow eagle like a tidal wave. Hey! The double-winged snow eagle snickered and quickly stopped. He looked at the leader of the guards in horror and nodded, Okay, I agree. The leader of the guards frowned, withdrew his saint aura, and shouted, Then tell me. Well, shouldn't you give me the pills first? Don't misunderstand, it's not that I don't trust you, but just in case. The double-winged snow eagle hurriedly said. The leader of the guards took out 5 pills and threw them to the double-winged snow eagle without hesitation. I've made a fortune. The double-winged snow eagle was delighted. He put away the 5 pills, turned into a stream of light, and quickly fled. I didn't know that this bastard was a sly old fox. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. The double-winged snow eagle said all that nonsense just to get some benefits. The leader of the guards was also stupid. He really believed the double-winged snow eagle's nonsense and gave it the pills. And now, it was time for the main event. Because the double-winged snow eagle did that to provoke the leader of the guards so that he would release his saint aura and imprison it. As expected. Seeing the double-winged snow eagle take the pills and run away quickly, the leader of the guards was furious. How dare it trick him? How reckless. Boom. Chapter 803. This is the moment I've been waiting for. The double-winged snow eagle snickered as it took out the small creation pill and swallowed it without anyone noticing. The energy of the small creation pill quickly spread throughout its body. An indescribable pain instantly engulfed its body and mind. Although the double-winged snow eagle had opened the gate of potential and tasted this kind of pain, it still could not help but howl in pain. However, the guard leader thought that it was his saint aura that caused the double-winged snow eagle such pain. Therefore, not only was he not vigilant, he was even complacent. He looked at the double-winged snow eagle mockingly and said, Hurry up and tell me, or you'll die a horrible death. Although Qin Feiyang was unjust to me, this emperor will definitely not do something like betraying a friend for glory. If you have the ability, use your saint aura to crush me. The double-winged snow eagle roared. The pores all over its body were spurting blood. In just a moment, its snow-white feathers were dyed red. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. It was a shocking sight. Unheard of. The guard leader's eyes turned cold as he unleashed all his saint aura to suppress the double-winged snow eagle. At this moment, the double-winged snow eagle felt as if there were a few giant mountains crazily crushing its body. That intense pain made it wish it was dead. Hurry up! It roared in its heart. From the strength of the saint aura, it was not difficult to tell that the guard leader was a 1-star battle saint. After opening the 5th level of the Gate of Potential, the pressure of a 1-star battle saint could not completely restrain it. However, if it did not resist and allowed this to continue, it would really be crushed alive. Therefore, it had to open the 6th level of the Gate of Potential as soon as possible. However, the 6th level of the Gate of Potential was like a tightly shut stone door that could not be opened for a long time. Moreover, as it continued to be consumed, the energy of the small creation pill slowly decreased. Will it fail? My luck won't be bad, right? The double-winged snow eagle was unwilling to give up. Although the small creation pill opened the Gate of Potential, it would not lose its life due to failure. At most, its vitality would be greatly damaged and it would be fine after a period of rest. However, it had been waiting for this moment for a long time. If it failed, it would be a huge blow to its soul. It was even possible that he would never recover from this setback. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel anxious. Actually, failure was normal. After all, the success and failure of the small creation pill with 5 veins were equally divided. What mattered was luck. However, he had the same mentality as the 2-winged snow eagle. He had waited so long for this moment. If he failed, he would be somewhat unwilling. Most importantly, if the double-winged snow eagle successfully opened the 6th level, it would become a battle saint. When it was time, their small team finally had a battle saint overseeing it. The difference between having a battle saint and not having one was like heaven and earth. Furthermore, he, Fatso, and the others would sooner or later enter the 9-Star War sect and open the 6th level of the Gate of Potential. If the dual-winged snow eagle managed to become a battle saint, they would no longer need to seek help from others. Because the 2-winged snow eagle could use its holy aura to help them. On the other hand, if the 2-winged snow eagle did not succeed, they would end up in the same situation as the 2-winged snow eagle. Unless the dual-winged snow eagle thought it through and stepped into the battle saint realm without opening the 6th level. But that was basically impossible. Because from its past performance, it was not difficult to see the determination of the 2-winged snow eagle. Without opening the 6th level, it would never step into the battle saint realm. But what could he do to help it? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang seemed to have thought of something, and quickly said to himself, "Quickly think, do you have anything you want to protect? Or did you have any painful and desperate memories in the past?" Every living being in the world had something to protect. Someone was protecting their family. Someone was protecting their dignity. There were also people protecting their love. For example, Qin Feiyang, he was protecting his friends and mother. Similarly, every living being had moments of pain and despair. And these things could stimulate a person's perseverance and potential, making them more motivated. Perhaps this way, the 2-winged snow eagle had a chance of succeeding. Things to protect, painful and desperate memories. When the 2-winged snow eagle heard this, it carefully thought about it for a moment. What Qin Feiyang said, it really did not have. The law of survival of the berserk beasts was that the strong preyed on the weak. It could be said that it was countless times crueler than humans. Therefore, to the 2-winged snow eagle, the pain and despair that it had experienced was extremely normal and not a big deal. As for the things that it needed to protect, it did not even think about them. As a berserk beast, when it was weak, it only needed to do one thing. And that was to look for prey and fill its stomach. As it grew day by day, its strength would slowly become stronger. The only thing it needed to do was to protect its life. If it did not follow Qin Feiyang, it still had something to protect, and that was the position of an overlord. But now, it had left the glacier. What overlord, what beast emperor, it had nothing to do with it. It really could not think of anything that was worth it to protect now. The holy aura crazily suppressed it, and its body was bleeding like a waterfall, dyeing the void red. Right now, it was in a state of serious injury and dying. Even if it could break the shackles of the holy aura, it could not do so now. Seems like I can't drag this on any longer. Qin Feiyang muttered. If this continued, the 2-winged snow eagle would definitely be in danger. Whoosh! He turned into a stream of light and rushed toward the 2-winged snow eagle without hesitation. Qin Feiyang. Seeing this, everyone's spirit was lifted. The guard commander shouted, "Quickly take him down." The group of guards immediately rushed towards Qin Feiyang with a ferocious aura. At the same time, The two-winged snow eagle looked at Qin Feiyang, who desperately rushed up to save it, and its eyes were filled with confusion. Even if it was a narrow escape, it would never abandon its companions and escape alone. Was this the friendship between friends? I thought of it. In the past, there was indeed nothing worth protecting, but now, there is. Suddenly, the confusion in the eyes of the two-winged snow eagle dissipated and was replaced by a trace of smile. Its whole body was full of fighting spirit. An unyielding will broke out of its body and shook the sky. Yes. This emperor is no longer fighting alone. This emperor now has a group of companions who treat each other with sincerity. What this emperor wants to protect is them. Break for me. The two-winged snow eagle let out a long cry, and a dull loud sound suddenly exploded from its body, like thunder, shaking the sky. At that moment, a bright light bloomed from between its eyebrows, as dazzling as the scorching sun. It succeeded? Qin Feiyang was stunned. The guard commander and the others were puzzled. What had happened? How dare you bully this emperor's friends, you are courting death. The next moment, the two-winged snow eagle returned to its original form and instantly broke the shackles of the holy aura. That huge body, suspended in the sky, emitted a monstrous aura. And that aura, like a volcanic eruption, was still crazily soaring. Is it going to break through? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Sure enough. In less than 3 breaths, the two-winged snow eagle's aura soared to an unprecedented height. Battle Sage. In its aura, there was a terrifying holy aura. It really broke through, Qin Feiyang murmured, feeling like he was dreaming. But then, a gratified smile crept up on his face. Having successfully opened the 6th level of the Gate of Potential, the potential of the two-winged snow eagle was already unfathomable. He reckoned that even Fatso and the others could not compare to it now. Most importantly, in the words of the two-winged snow eagle, he heard the concern. He understood. At this moment, the two-winged snow eagle had finally completely integrated into this small team, and was of the same mind as everyone else. Die, all of you. The two-winged snow eagle's murderous nature was unleashed, and it turned into a ray of light. Everywhere it passed, it was accompanied by screams, and the guards fell one after another, dyeing the sky red with blood. In less than 5 breaths, the group of guards was completely annihilated. Whoosh! It looked at the guard commander again. Looking at that pair of sharp eagle eyes, the guard commander could not help but shudder, and instinctively became frightened. What are you afraid of? I won't eat you. The two-winged snow eagle smiled coldly, and its battle aura gushed out, turning into a huge wave that covered the sky, and rushed toward the guard commander. Don't be so arrogant. The guard commander flew into a rage out of humiliation. Yes. What was he afraid of? The opponent was just an ant that had just broken through to become a battle sage. Moreover, he had a battle art. If they were to fight, with the advantage of his battle art, he could easily crush the opponent. He stretched out his hands, and his battle aura went against the current like a tide. Clang! A huge sword that was a few hundred feet long suddenly appeared in the sky. Slash! Following his angry roar, the huge sword split the sky, and disintegrated the huge wave like a hot knife through butter. Qin Feiyang glanced at the huge sword, and reminded, an upper-class battle art. It's just an upper-class battle art. Why are you so arrogant? Goshawk dominating body. The two-winged snow eagle immediately showed disdain, and in an instant, its feathers and eyes turned blood red. Its aura increased rapidly, and it could topple mountains and overturn seas. Immediately after, it spread its wings, and a gust of wind whizzed out, crushing the huge sword in an instant. Puff! The guard commander spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body kept retreating, his face full of disbelief. How was it possible that his battle art had been shattered so easily? And its aura, had it reached the level of a 5-star battle sage? What was going on? Could it be? A terrifying thought suddenly crept into his mind. A perfect battle art. Because only a perfect battle art could raise a person's strength by 4 levels. Your so-called advantage is nothing more than a joke in this emperor's eyes. The 2-winged snow eagle smiled disdainfully, its huge body seemed to be dripping blood, and it was filled with a terrifying aura. Is it really a perfect battle art? The guard commander asked. Yes. The 2-winged snow eagle nodded. This is impossible. The guard commander shook his head vigorously. Even the ruler of the 3rd district, the city lord, did not have a perfect battle art. A beast actually claimed to have a perfect battle art. Wasn't this too ridiculous? Boom! Suddenly, his body was filled with an unprecedented aura. The 2-winged snow eagle said, I advise you not to activate your battle soul. The guard commander was stunned, and sneered, Are you afraid? Afraid? Yes, I am afraid, but I am afraid that you will humiliate yourself. Chapter 804. The guard commander was mad. He dared to say that he was asking for humiliation. Was there a limit to his arrogance? Roar! Accompanied by a loud roar, a huge tiger rushed out from behind him. The giant tiger was golden and as big as a mountain, it emitted a terrifying aura. The double-winged snow eagle sighed, You really won't cry until you're in the coffin. Cut the crap, go to hell. The guard commander roared. Roar! The giant tiger roared and rushed towards the double-winged snow eagle with an aura that could destroy the world. Humph! The double-winged snow eagle's eyes turned cold and 2 wings of light appeared on its back. In addition to the 2 pairs of wings it already had, it had 6 wings now. With the 6 wings spread out, it bypassed the giant tiger and landed directly on top of the guard commander's head. This speed! The guard commander immediately turned pale with fright and hurriedly retreated. What do you think? Now you regret it. You want to compete with me in fighting souls? Are you looking for trouble? The double-winged snow eagle sneered and quickly chased after the guard commander. Its sharp claws glowed with a cold light as it scratched towards the guard commander's head. Don't kill me, that bone-piercing killing intent caused the commander's body to tremble as he let out a loud cry in horror. If we meet again in our next life, I will definitely spare your life. But today, you must die. The double-winged snow eagle's eyes were as sharp as knives, causing the guard commander to feel despair. Have mercy. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand. The double-winged snow eagle was stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. I have a few questions for him. Qin Feiyang stepped forward and landed in front of the guard commander. You have no way out. Keep your fighting soul and don't play any tricks. Yes, yes, yes. The guard commander nodded and with a thought, the giant tiger disappeared into thin air. Qin Feiyang said, Do you know a person called Pei Changfeng? Pei Changfeng, the guard commander pondered for a while and shook his head. Never heard of him. Really? Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold. The guard commander pointed to the sky and said, I swear, I'm not lying to you. Qin Feiyang frowned and took out Pei Changfeng's identity token. He pointed at the python pattern on it and said, Have you seen this pattern before? The guard commander looked down and his expression changed. He exclaimed, This is the tribe's totem. Totem? Qin Feiyang frowned. Don't you know? The guard commander looked at him in surprise. They even had a perfect battle art, so their identities were definitely not simple. But how could they not even know about totems? Just say it. Why do you have so many questions? The 2-winged snow eagle shouted. Alright, alright, alright. I'll talk, I'll talk. The guard commander was horrified. I once heard the pagoda master mention that the powerful tribes in the depths all have their own totems. This totem is their faith, and also the symbol of their status. It's extremely important. But not every tribe is qualified to have a totem. It's said that only a tribe with a population of 1 million and a 9-star battle saint can set up their own totem. The guard commander said. There's such a thing? Qin Feiyang was surprised and asked, a tribe with a population of 1 million and a 9-star battle saint can't be missing? Yes. If a tribe with a population of 1 million but no 9-star battle saint can set up their own totem. The guard commander nodded. Qin Feiyang said, is there such a tribe in the 3rd district? Is it possible? Other than the pagoda master, the strongest in the 3rd district is the city lord, a 3-star battle saint. Even the vast sea, crimson smoke, and black lion tribes only have 1-star battle saints overseeing them. I reckon that even the 4th and 5th districts don't have a tribe with a totem. The guard commander said. Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle looked at each other. It seemed that Pei Changfeng's background was not simple. The double-winged snow eagle looked at the guard commander and said, you just said that the vast sea, red smoke, and black lion tribes are the 3 supreme tribes in the 3rd district? That's right. Their leaders and high priest are both 1-star battle saints. But the strange thing is that I received news yesterday that the leaders of the 3 tribes seem to have gone missing. The guard commander frowned and said. The double-winged snow eagle laughed and said, they didn't go missing, they were killed. What? Who killed them? The guard commander looked at Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle in shock. Suddenly, he found that the man and the eagle both had a smile on their faces. Immediately, a terrifying thought crept into his mind and he said in shock, could it be you guys? You said it, we didn't say it. The double-winged snow eagle laughed. The guard commander was dumbstruck. Obviously, the leaders of the 3 tribes were killed by this group of people. But how did they do it? Qin Feiyang was a 7-star battle master, while that wolf and Fatso were only 6-star battle master. This snow eagle had just broken through to the battle saint realm. Would such a lineup be able to kill 3 1-star battle saints? Could it be that there was a terrifying battle saint hidden by their side? That's right. Wasn't there a black-robed old woman by his side? Thinking of this, the guard commander panicked even more, and hurriedly said, I have answered all your questions truthfully, can you please let me go? Last question, do you know the coordinates of the 4th district? Qin Feiyang asked. The guard commander said, only the pagoda master knows about this. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows, and said, what is the pagoda master's cultivation level? 4-star battle saint. The guard commander said without hesitation. 4-star battle saint, it's not easy to deal with. Qin Feiyang muttered to himself and nodded to the double-winged snow eagle. The double-winged snow eagle understood and swooped down, its sharp claws directly grabbing the head of the guard commander. With this little strength, you dare to chase after us, you are simply courting death. The double-winged snow eagle laughed disdainfully, turned into the size of a palm, and floated in front of Qin Feiyang, and said, do you still want to find trouble with the 3 tribes? Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, and shook his head, no need, rushing to the 4th district is more important. The double-winged snow eagle said, then go find the pagoda master's coordinates, a 4-star battle saint is not invincible. So confident? Qin Feiyang was shocked. What a joke, don't you know who this emperor is? The double-winged snow eagle said proudly. Actually, if it hadn't broken through, it definitely wouldn't dare to say such big words. But now, it had also stepped into the battle saint realm. Although there was still a big gap between it and the pagoda master, it had an advantage that the pagoda master didn't have, the sacred weapon Heavenly Thunder Sword. If it fought with all its strength, it might really have a glimmer of hope. What's more, Qin Feiyang still had Mu Tianyang's ribs on his body. Thinking back to the time in Sky Thunder City, Mu Qiuyu was no match for the two battle saints of the Mu clan. But when Qin Feiyang gave her the ribs, it was as if she was possessed by a demon, killing the two of them. So, he could give it a try. Even if he couldn't beat them, with the castle, the pagoda master couldn't hurt them. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, looked up at the double-winged snow eagle, and laughed. If you can really get the coordinates, I will consider you a great merit. Is there a reward? The double-winged snow eagle laughed. Qin Feiyang nodded. Yes, I will reward you with a healing pill. TSK. Are you trying to dismiss a beggar? The double-winged snow eagle looked at him in disdain. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed, his expression turning solemn. Since you want to go, you have to end the battle quickly. Otherwise, when the city lord rushes back, a 4-star battle saint and a 3-star battle saint, there is basically no hope. So what if he comes back? I will kill him without hesitation. The double-winged snow eagle snorted coldly. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. This guy was already arrogant, but he didn't say much. With a wave of his hand, he opened a teleportation door. The next moment, a man and an eagle appeared in the sky above the snowy plains outside Tianyang City. It's Qin Feiyang. He is here again. The pedestrians below were in an uproar. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle ignored them. They turned into a stream of light, broke into the city, and rushed toward the Pill Pagoda. Stop right there. A group of guards soared into the sky, blocking in front of Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle. The weakest of these guards was a 7-star battle grandmaster, and they were extremely powerful. Their expressions were filled with a strong killing intent. Scram! However, the double-winged snow eagle only let out a loud roar. The holy might covered the sky and covered the earth, and the group of guards' blood splattered across the sky. So strong. It's actually a war saint. Seeing this scene, the people in the city were all scared out of their wits. No one dared to come out and block the way. Whiz! Soon, Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle landed in front of the Pill Pagoda. The double-winged snow eagle shouted, "Pagoda Master, come out and die." Boom! Not long later, the pagoda door slowly opened. A middle-aged man wearing a fiery red robe appeared in the line of sight of Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle. It was the pagoda master. The pagoda master walked out of the Pill Pagoda and stood in front of the door. He looked at the man and the eagle gloomily and said, "The heavenly sun flame has already been snatched away by you. What else do you want?" "Two things. First, the heavenly thunder flame, the frost flame, and the heavenly sun flame. What secret are they hiding?" "The second thing, the coordinates of the 4th area." Qin Feiyang said. "Sure enough, you don't know the coordinates." The pagoda master muttered to himself. However, he could not figure out the first thing. "Since you don't know the secret of these alchemy flames, why did you snatch them?" "I don't know the secret of the alchemy flames either. As for the coordinates of the 4th area, I definitely know them. However, it depends on whether you have the ability to make me say it." The pagoda master sneered. "Yo, you're still being arrogant?" The double-winged snow eagle let out a strange cry. Its wings of light appeared and turned into a flash of light as it flew toward the pagoda master. Ridiculous. The pagoda master's face was full of disdain. A mere 1-star war saint dared to compete with him. He really didn't know how to write the word death. He stood there motionless. That contemptuous look in his eyes was as if he was looking at a tiny ant. However, if one observed carefully, they would notice that he was secretly scanning the surroundings with a trace of vigilance hidden in the depths of his eyes. He was not vigilant against the double-winged snow eagle and Qin Feiyang. Instead, he was vigilant against the black-robed old woman. However, he did not know that his worry was completely unnecessary. There was no old woman beside Qin Feiyang. Seeing this, the double-winged snow eagle could not help but laugh in his heart. The more arrogant this person was, the easier it would be to deal with him. Although the heavenly thunder sword was a sacred weapon, it did not have the ability to recover. If the pagoda master was fully alert, it would not be able to end the battle quickly. Chapter 805. At this moment, there was a sea of people gathered near the Pill Pagoda, discussing animatedly, their eyes filled with disdain. In their opinion, the double-winged snow eagle challenging the pagoda master was simply courting death. At the same time, glancing at these people, Qin Feiyang frowned slightly and shouted, "If you don't want to die, leave immediately." Did these people have any consciousness at all? The double-winged snow eagle was a war sage, and the pagoda master was also a war sage. The collision of two war sages, the destructive shockwaves, was it something they could withstand? If it was a smart person, they would have already escaped. But these people still had the mood to criticize, they really didn't have any awareness at all. Leave? Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, the surrounding crowd was slightly stunned. Not good, quickly retreat. In the next moment, the crowd became restless, like a swarm of locusts, they rushed out of the city. The average cultivation of the people in Tianyang City was basically at the War Master level. Therefore, under Qin Feiyang's reminder, the situation in Sky Thunder City did not happen, and most of them successfully escaped from the city. In the blink of an eye. Very quickly, the huge city became an empty city. What a hindsight! Qin Feiyang shook his head and also soared into the sky, looking down at the double-winged snow eagle and the pagoda master. The pagoda master looked around, then looked at Qin Feiyang and muttered, "Looks like the old woman is not here." He was relieved that the old woman was not here. At this time, the double-winged snow eagle had already flown above the pagoda master's head. That pair of eagle claws, glowing with a cold light, grabbed at the pagoda master's head. Overestimating yourself. The pagoda master sneered, raised his arm, clenched his 5 fingers into a fist, and surged with battle chi, carrying a shocking aura, to meet the attack. Hey! Seeing that the fist and eagle claws were about to collide, the double-winged snow eagle suddenly laughed sinisterly, 2 wings of light appeared, and like lightning, it swept behind the pagoda master. Clang! In the next moment, an earth-shattering explosion. There was also a terrifying sharpness that covered the sky and earth, sweeping in all directions. Boom! Crack! Houses continued to collapse, the ground crazily cracking, deafening sounds. The land within a radius of several miles was instantly turned into ruins. It was extremely shocking. What is it? The tower master was bewildered. A strong sense of uneasiness welled up in his heart. He hurriedly turned around and saw a 3-foot-long sword slashing towards his head. Immediately, all the hair on his body stood on end. That's actually sacred artifact. Without hesitation, he took a step forward and dodged to the left. Puff! But the speed of the sword was too fast. Although he reacted in time and had strong fighting instincts, the sword still cut off his right arm. Blood gushed out like a fountain and dyed the sky red. Ah! The pagoda master screamed in pain and then stared at the battle sword floating in the air. What kind of background does this group of people have? They even have a saint tool. Hey! Do you think we have the ability to make you tell us the coordinates? The double-winged snow eagle flapped its wings, and the heavenly thunder sword returned to its side. The crowd outside the city was dumbfounded. They didn't expect the pagoda master to suffer such a big loss. This was too unbelievable. The pagoda master's eyes darkened. He looked at the double-winged snow eagle and then at Qin Feiyang. Only now did he realize that he had seriously underestimated the strength of this group of people. Even without the black-robed old woman, it was enough to give him a headache. The double-winged snow eagle said impatiently, "I really don't want to talk nonsense with you. Hurry up and give us the coordinates." Swish! But before his voice faded, a middle-aged man descended above Qin Feiyang. He wore a black robe, had a square face, and his black hair was like a waterfall, dancing behind him. Looking at the broken city below, this person's face suddenly sank. That's right. This person was the city lord of Tianyang City. Qin Feiyang was not surprised at the return of the city lord. Because even if the pagoda master did not have the chance to inform him, others would. For example, those guards who escaped the city. However, what he was worried about had happened, which made him a little anxious. Suddenly, the city lord also sensed the aura of the sacred weapon. He quickly looked around and his gaze quickly locked onto the sky thunder sword. Immediately, his expression was full of shock. "Don't worry, the old woman is not here. I'll hold this beast back, you quickly take down Qin Feiyang." The pagoda master secretly transmitted his voice and then rushed toward the double-winged snow eagle with a strong aura. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. The sacred weapon was terrifying, but with the cultivation of the man and the eagle, it was impossible to revive it. A sacred weapon that could not be revived could only exert 1/10 of its power. This 1/10 of its power was enough to deal with a 1-star battle saint, but it was far from enough to deal with a 4-star battle saint. Moreover, as long as he did not collide with this sacred weapon, no matter how sharp it would not hurt him. At the same time, hearing that the old woman was not here, the city lord could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Immediately after, his gaze turned cold. Boom! The holy aura of a 3-star battle saint rushed out of his body like a torrent and rushed toward Qin Feiyang. To catch the bandits, first catch the ringleader. What a good plan. However, it depends on whether you have the ability to do so. The double-winged snow eagle laughed secretly and ignored the city lord. It did not help Qin Feiyang and directly charged toward the pagoda master with the sky thunder sword. It was not that it did not want to help, but that it had full confidence in Qin Feiyang. Back to Qin Feiyang. The city lord's aura surged and imprisoned him in the void. But his expression was as calm as ever, without any ripples. How can he still be so calm? Seeing this, the city lord was surprised. He was a suspicious person. Seeing Qin Feiyang's expression, he did not dare to act rashly. Clang! Suddenly, an ice blade appeared and floated in front of Qin Feiyang. The world suddenly turned cold. At the same time, a vast and mighty holy aura surged out. The holy aura that was imprisoning Qin Feiyang was instantly broken. Originally, Qin Feiyang wanted to kill the chief of the Black Lion tribe in one strike, just like how he dealt with the chief of the Black Lion tribe last time. But obviously, this city lord was much more cautious than the leader of the Black Lion tribe. So, he simply gave up this idea and took out the ice blade to create an opportunity for the double-winged snow eagle. Because 2 sacred artifacts were not a small matter. The pagoda master would definitely be shocked. Once he was shocked, the double-winged snow eagle could take advantage of the situation to take him down. As expected, when they saw the ice blade, both the city lord and the pagoda master could not help but turn pale with shock and disbelief. There was actually another sacred artifact. Who the hell are these people? They actually have 2 saint artifacts with them. God! Was this a dream? When did sacred artifacts become so common? Just as the pagoda master was distracted, the double-winged snow eagle's eyes flashed with a smile. Swish! It flashed and instantly landed in front of the pagoda master. With a clang, the sky thunder sword was placed across the pagoda master's neck. The pagoda master shivered and suddenly broke out in cold sweat. He instinctively wanted to retreat. The double-winged snow eagle laughed, "If you dare to move, this emperor will remove your head." Hearing this, the pagoda master could not help but feel a chill down his spine. All his thoughts were destroyed. "Little guy, you want to fight with us? You are still far from it. Can you say it now?" The double-winged snow eagle laughed mockingly and said. Facing this naked humiliation, the pagoda master was burning with anger. As the real ruler of the third area, who dared to speak to him in such a tone and attitude? But this group of bastards first came to Tianyang City brazenly and took away the Tianyang flame, and now held a knife to his neck. This caused his self-esteem to be greatly hurt. He stared at the double-winged snow eagle and said in a deep voice, "Even if you kill me, I will not tell you." "So courageous? Then this emperor will try." The double-winged snow eagle laughed mockingly. With a little force, the sky thunder sword's blade entered 3 inches into the flesh. Blood immediately flowed down from the pagoda master's neck. However, the pagoda master's expression did not change. "Are you really not afraid?" The double-winged snow eagle raised his eyebrows and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. If the other party was not afraid of death, it would be a bit difficult. Qin Feiyang also frowned, glancing at the pagoda master and then at the city lord. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in his eyes as he looked at the people outside the city. "What do you want to do?" Seeing this, the city lord suddenly became vigilant. "I am not a person who likes to kill the innocent, but sometimes, I do need to use some extreme means," Qin Feiyang said coldly. Hearing this, the city lord and the pagoda master felt as if they had heard the biggest joke in the world. If he did not like to kill the innocent, then why did he slaughter the people in the second and first areas? However, although they wanted to laugh, they could not. Because Qin Feiyang's meaning was very clear, he wanted to kill everyone in Tianyang City. One must know. At this moment, there were millions of people gathered outside the city. Once Qin Feiyang took action, there would be rivers of blood and floating corpses everywhere. Swish! Suddenly, Qin Feiyang waved his hand, Fatso and the pangolin appeared out of thin air, then pointed to the people outside the city and said expressionlessly, "Don't leave a single one alive, kill them all." "Okay." Fatso and the pangolin nodded, full of murderous intent. The city lord's heart trembled, and he hurriedly said, "Stop. What do you want to say?" Qin Feiyang looked up at him. "Wait, I will persuade the pagoda master." The city lord said hurriedly, then looked at the pagoda master and lamented, "We can't let those innocent people be implicated, just give him the coordinates." The pagoda master said in a deep voice, "Even if you give him the coordinates, with his cruel character, he will still kill everyone." The city lord fell silent. Yes. This person had slaughtered the first and second areas, how could he let the third area go? "Don't worry, as long as you give me the coordinates, I will leave immediately and not touch anyone," Qin Feiyang said. The pagoda master sneered, "Do you think I will believe your nonsense?" "I believe." Before the pagoda master finished speaking, the city lord said, The pagoda master raised his eyebrows. The city lord said, "We have no choice now, we can only choose to believe his words." "No, there is still a choice, don't care about my life or death, just kill Qin Feiyang. Although he has a sacred artifact, he can't recover it, he is not your opponent," the pagoda master said in a deep voice, with a trace of determination in his eyes. This, the city lord hesitated. "Good idea." Qin Feiyang clapped his hands, but the corner of his mouth pursed with a hint of mockery, looked at the city lord and said, "Don't forget, how did I disappear from under your eyes in the Black Cloud tribe and White Cloud tribe?" The city lord's heart trembled. He could still remember the scene at that time clearly. A few living people suddenly disappeared without a trace, as if they had evaporated into thin air. And this Fatso and Wolf King, just now, they also appeared out of thin air without any warning. Was this a magic trick? Impossible. This kid must have some amazing life-saving means on him. He looked at the pagoda master and said, "Take it as me begging you, just tell him, if he really goes back on his word, I will apologize with my life." "Why are you so stupid?" the pagoda master said angrily. The city lord sighed deeply and laughed, "For your and everyone's lives, it's worth being stupid for once." "You." The pagoda master glared at him angrily, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Okay, I'll tell you, but if you continue to do evil here, I swear, my pill pagoda will never let you go." Finished. He gave the coordinates of the fourth area to Qin Feiyang. "Where are the coordinates?" Qin Feiyang asked. The pagoda master said, "The location of the fourth area, Tianxian City." Tianxian City, Qin Feiyang muttered and waved his hand to open a teleportation gate. "Let's go." Then, he called out to the dual-winged snow eagle and sent Fatso and Wolf King to the ancient castle before striding into the teleportation gate. "My two brothers, let's meet again if fate wills it." The dual-winged snow eagle also put away the heavenly thunder sword and waved its wings reluctantly at the pagoda master and the city lord. It was as if he was bidding farewell to an old friend. Scram! "Who is your brother? Who is fated to meet you again?" Looking at the dual-winged snow eagle's complacent back, the two of them gnashed their teeth in hatred. After the teleportation gate dissipated, the city lord let out a long breath and laughed bitterly. "A 1-star war saint and a 7-star war sect forced us to such a state. This time, we really lost a lot of face." "Who says so?" "This Qin Feiyang, his methods are already so astonishing. If we wait for him to grow up, I really don't know what level he will reach. I don't dare to think about it," the pagoda master said powerlessly. This was the first time in his life that he had met such a monstrous young man. The city lord nodded and suddenly turned to look at the pagoda master, puzzled. "I really don't understand what you are thinking." The pagoda master was stunned and asked, "What do you mean?" The city lord said, "Didn't you already contact the fourth region's pagoda master?" "Yes." The pagoda master nodded. Since the fourth region's pagoda master already knows that Qin Feiyang will go to Tianxian City, he will definitely set up a trap. In this way, Qin Feiyang going to Tianxian City is equivalent to walking into a trap. "But looking at your attitude just now, why didn't you want to give him the coordinates?" the city lord asked suspiciously. After hearing the city lord's words, the pagoda master shook his head and smiled bitterly. "Things are not as simple as you think." "Not simple?" The city lord was puzzled. How complicated could it be? "Let me tell you the truth, the fourth region's pagoda master is a 5-star war saint. It is more than enough to deal with Qin Feiyang, but it is still far from enough to deal with that black-robed old woman. Our original plan was to inform the experts of the 8th and 9th region to come and help." Before the pagoda master finished his words, the city lord was overjoyed. "This is a good thing. When the experts of the 8th and 9th region arrive, they will definitely die. It is a good thing, but it needs time. I have told you about the pill pagoda's rules before. It needs to be reported to the higher levels. I estimate that it will take at least a few hundred breaths for the experts of the 8th and 9th region to receive the news," the pagoda master said. "A few hundred breaths, isn't that too late? That black-robed old woman, like that wolf and Fatso, must be hiding beside Qin Feiyang. With that old woman's strength, not to mention a few hundred breaths, even a few hundred breaths is enough for her to snatch the pill fire of Tianxian City," the city lord said worriedly. Yes. This is the reason why I didn't give them the coordinates. It is also to buy time for the 4th region's pagoda master. But I didn't expect that these little bastards would use the whole city to threaten us. They are too vicious. The pagoda master said hatefully. Then what do we do now? The city lord asked. Don't worry, I am not that stupid. The coordinates I gave them are not the coordinates of Tianxian City. The pagoda master sneered, his face full of mockery. You still have a trick up your sleeve? The city lord was surprised. Yes. The pagoda master nodded and sneered, if there is no accident, they will definitely die in that place, there is no need for the pill pagoda to do anything. The city lord was shocked and said in a low voice, where did you give them the coordinates? Black Dragon Glacier. The pagoda master said word by word, his eyes filled with a dense killing intent. Hearing this name, the city lord's heart trembled, and his face was filled with fear. All right, bring some people to clean up this place. I will report this matter to the 4th region's pagoda master. Chapter 806. When the pagoda master entered the pill pagoda, the city lord retracted his gaze, lowered his head, and scanned the city. At this moment, Tianyang City was broken and in a mess. Looking at it, he couldn't help but have a headache. They really know how to cause trouble. The city lord sighed, looked at the people outside the city, and said loudly, it's safe, come back. Immediately. The crowd poured into the city from all directions. Don't be idle, everyone work together and repair the broken places as soon as possible. As the city lord finished speaking, the people began to get busy. Suddenly, the city lord seemed to have thought of something and looked at a guard not far away, saying, come here. Lord, what's the matter? The guard flew over and asked doubtfully. The city lord said, where's the commander? The guard was slightly taken aback and asked, didn't he bring people to look for you? The city lord frowned and said, I didn't see him. The guard said, then he might not have caught up to you, why don't you send him a message? Okay. The city lord nodded and waved his hand, go and do your work. Yes. The guard responded and bowed before retreating. The city lord immediately took out an image crystal and sent a message to the guard commander. But at this moment, whoosh! Accompanied by a piercing sound, a middle-aged man dressed as a hunter landed in front of the city lord like lightning. You are? The city lord looked at him suspiciously. In fact, this burly man was also a resident of Tianyang City, but as the city lord, it was impossible for him to know everyone. Lord City Lord, not good. The middle-aged man panicked, as if he had seen something terrifying, and his face was pale. What's the fuss? The city lord frowned. The middle-aged man said, the guard commander and the others were all killed. What? The city lord's expression changed, and he said angrily, who did it? Qin Feiyang. The middle-aged man said. The city lord's pupils constricted, and he said, quickly tell me in detail. Not long ago, I was looking for prey deep in the mountains when I suddenly heard the sound of battle. At first, I thought it was a battle between berserk beasts, so I ran over to see if I could take advantage of it. But when I rushed over, I found that it was Qin Feiyang fighting with the guard commander and the others. Their methods are too cruel, simply inhuman. That snow eagle also broke through to the Battle Saint realm at that time. Furthermore, I've also heard them say that the chiefs of the Scarlet Smoke tribe, Black Lion tribe and Ocean tribe all died at their hands. The burly man's damn it. The city lord was furious. He chased after him. That was why he followed him. However, he did not expect that not only did this person not go to the 4th district, he even killed the guard commander and the others. Furthermore, he even returned to Tianyang City to raid his hometown. How could this bastard be so cunning? Suddenly, he looked up at the brawny man and asked suspiciously, "They didn't notice you?" To the ISS, so. The Tito S. Although I haven't had much contact with Qin Feiyang, I can tell that he is a very vigilant person. To be able to escape his perception, it means that you have some ability. Your strength is not bad, 5-star War Master. How about this, I'll make an exception and let you become a guard of the City Lord's mansion. The City Lord said. Thank you, my lord. The middle-aged man was overjoyed and quickly knelt down to thank him. As a member of the Tianyang city, he naturally knew the rules of the City Lord's mansion. To become a guard of the City Lord's mansion, one had to be at least a 7-star War Master. Furthermore, one had to go through layers and layers of examinations. Therefore, to him, this was undoubtedly a great fortune. The City Lord laughed, "Get up, do well, I have high hopes for you." Yes. The middle-aged man stood up and said, "Then do you still want to find Qin Feiyang?" "No need. That's because the name Qin Feiyang will soon be forgotten." The City Lord sneered. Forgotten? The middle-aged man was puzzled. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Now, go to the 3 great tribes and tell them about the deaths of the 3 great leaders, so that they won't look everywhere. The City Lord ordered. All right, this subordinate will go now. The middle-aged man respectfully replied, then turned into a ray of light and quickly disappeared from the City Lord's line of sight. Black Dragon Glacier. Even if a war saint were to enter this place, it would be a 90% chance of survival. Qin Feiyang, just wait for despair. The City Lord retracted his gaze and raised his head to look towards the northwest. He muttered to himself, his face filled with coldness. At the same time, inside the Pill Tower, the Pagoda Master sat in the alchemy room, holding the image crystal in his hand. His eyes flickered with a strange light. Suddenly, the image crystal shone brightly, and a shadow quickly condensed. It was a middle-aged man. He wore a golden robe with a lifelike tiger embroidered on it. He exuded the aura of a king. His facial features were well-defined, his eyebrows were sharp, and his dark eyes gave off a piercing sharpness. The golden-robed man was like a king, looking down at the City Lord and asking, "What's the matter?" His voice was full of energy, with a great majesty. "There's a change in the situation," the Pagoda Master said with a look of awe. "What change?" The golden-robed man frowned. The Pagoda Master said, "I tricked Qin Feiyang into going to the Black Dragon Glacier." "Really?" The golden-robed man was surprised. The Pagoda Master nodded. The golden-robed man smiled and said, "That's a good thing, we don't have to do anything." "No. We have to do something, and we can't alarm the big shots above." The Pagoda Master's eyes flashed as he said. "What do you mean?" The golden-robed man was stunned, his face full of confusion. "Qin Feiyang has 2 sacred artifacts on him." The Pagoda Master said word by word, his eyes full of greed. "What?" The golden-robed man's expression changed on the spot. "Is it true?" The Pagoda Master nodded and said, "I saw it with my own eyes, it's absolutely true." 2 sacred artifacts, what's the background of this kid? The golden-robed man was in disbelief. "You mean the 2 of us will enter the Black Dragon Glacier to snatch these 2 sacred artifacts?" "That's right. Although the Black Dragon Glacier is very dangerous, it's worth the risk for the sacred artifacts," the Pagoda Master said. The golden-robed man frowned and said worriedly, "We might lose our lives." "Yes. It's very likely that we'll die in the Black Dragon Glacier, but there's a good saying, how can there be gains without risks? As long as we can get those 2 sacred artifacts, we can go anywhere and get a place. When the time comes, with our own abilities, we might even be able to enter the Central Divine Kingdom." The Pagoda Master tempted. The Black Dragon Glacier was a dangerous place, and he didn't dare to go in alone. So no matter what, he had to persuade the golden-robed man. The central divine kingdom was without a doubt the best bait for them. Although the pagoda masters were very respected in their respective areas, that mysterious central divine kingdom was simply an impossible dream for them. If they continued to live their lives step by step, it would be hopeless. So, they had to find a shortcut. And this time, Qin Feiyang's appearance gave him hope. At the same time, hearing the pagoda master's words, the golden-robed man's eyes lit up. He was obviously tempted, but he didn't say anything. The pagoda master struck while the iron was hot and urged, "Brother Wang, this opportunity will not come again. You have to grasp it well." The golden-robed man gritted his teeth and nodded. "Fine, we'll do as you say, but I have a suggestion." The pagoda master smiled and said, "Brother Wang, please speak. I'm all ears." Qin Feiyang has 2 sacred artifacts, so he's not easy to deal with. So, we have to arrange some people to go to the Black Dragon Glacier first. The golden-robed man said. The so-called first was equivalent to cannon fodder. Good idea. Once we get the sacred artifacts, we'll kill everyone. At that time, no one will know that we have the sacred artifacts. The pagoda master chuckled. Chapter 807. Let's talk about Qin Feiyang. At this moment, he stood above a certain mountain range, scanning the area below, his face full of bewilderment. The mountains and rivers stretched as far as the eye could see. Giant peaks of different heights, the rolling mountain range, towering and exuding a majestic aura. However, there was no city at all within a few dozen miles. Moreover, this place was also very strange. Whether it was the mountains or the rivers, they were all black. As far as the eye could see, there was not a single beast, nor a small tree. Not even a blade of grass. This place was like a land of death. There was no sign of life, no sound, only dead silence. In such an atmosphere, no matter who it was, their hair would stand on end. What the hell is this place? At the same time, the double-winged snow eagle also looked at all of this in bewilderment, fully alert. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows, and said, "It seems that we have been deceived." Deceived? The double-winged snow eagle was stunned, and said in bewilderment, "You mean, the pagoda master gave us a fake coordinate?" Qin Feiyang nodded. "Damn bastard, how dare he trick us? This emperor will go and destroy him now." The double-winged snow eagle was furious, and directly took out a portal, full of murderous intent. But the next moment, it froze in the void, its eyes full of disbelief. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang looked at it suspiciously. The double-winged snow eagle stared at the portal and said in disbelief, "Why can't it be opened?" Qin Feiyang was also surprised, and quickly looked at the portal. The palm-sized portal was suspended in front of the double-winged snow eagle, its whole body was dim, and there was no sign of it recovering. "Are you sure you can open it?" Qin Feiyang asked. The double-winged snow eagle said, "Nonsense, if you don't believe me, try it yourself." Qin Feiyang frowned. Looking at the double-winged snow eagle's expression, it didn't seem to be joking. He quickly took out a portal and tried to open it, but it really couldn't be opened. What's going on? This time, Qin Feiyang couldn't stay calm. He had encountered situations where he couldn't open the portal. Moreover, all of these places were ominous places that struck terror into people's hearts. It was like a wasteland. Like the yellow springs of the 9 underworlds. Could it be that this place was also a dangerous place like the land of ruins and the 9 underworlds? But here, he didn't feel any gravity in the air. What's going on? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Suddenly, he waved his hand and Fatso and Wolf King appeared out of thin air. When they saw the mountains and rivers with their own eyes, the man and the wolf were extremely bewildered. "Let's split into 2 teams and search separately to see if we can find anything," Qin Feiyang said in a low voice. He had an ominous premonition in his heart. Fatso nodded. But suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said, "Wait, let's see if the image crystal can send messages." Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment, then he gave a thumbs up and said with a smile, very thoughtful. If they couldn't communicate, then they couldn't separate. He immediately took out the image crystal and tried to send a message to Fatso, and Fatso's image crystal also reacted. This meant that they could send messages here. Qin Feiyang put away the image crystal and said, "There's no time to lose, let's go. In half an hour, we'll still meet here." "Understood." Fatso nodded and brought Wolf King to the west. Qin Feiyang and the winged snow eagle flew towards the east. However, along the way, they didn't encounter any other creatures, not even a small bug, let alone people. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang stopped in the air and looked up at the sky with a trace of surprise in his eyes. "What's wrong?" the winged snow eagle asked. Qin Feiyang didn't answer. He raised his arm and opened his palm. A few white snowflakes landed on his palm. Then, he lowered his head and looked at the mountains and rivers below. His brows tightened and he was full of doubt. "Why is it like this? This is too strange," he muttered to himself as if there was no one else around. "What did you find? Don't hide it in your heart. Tell me." The winged snow eagle also became more and more surprised and urged. Qin Feiyang said, "Do you see these snowflakes?" "Nonsense, this emperor is not blind. Get to the point." The winged snow eagle rolled its eyes at him. "The point is these snowflakes. From the time we appeared here until now, it has been snowing in the sky. This means that in the past, it must have often snowed here. And the temperature here is no different from other places. It's still cold, but why is there no snow below?" Qin Feiyang said. "That's right." Only then did the double-winged snow eagle realize the strangeness of the situation. The mountains and rivers below were dark everywhere. Not to mention snow, there wasn't even a snowflake. "Let's go down and take a look," the winged snow eagle asked. Qin Feiyang nodded. A man and an eagle swooped down and landed on a mountain peak like lightning. When his feet touched the ground, Qin Feiyang's expression froze. The ground was soft, and his feet sank into it. "That's not right." When he looked down, he suddenly frowned. The ground was not solid soil, nor was it stone. It was a layer of soft black sediment. After confirming that there was no danger nearby, Qin Feiyang bent down and grabbed a handful of the black sediment. Immediately, a gust of cold air entered his palm and into his body. "This is actually snow." Qin Feiyang fixed his eyes on it and was stunned. These sediments were actually piled up by snowflakes. But black snowflakes, wasn't this a bit too strange? "That's right, it's indeed snow. Look at those falling snowflakes, they've all turned black," the winged snow eagle said. Qin Feiyang looked around. As the winged snow eagle said, every snowflake would turn from white to black when it fell to the ground. But why did this happen? What caused this anomaly to occur? The double-winged snow eagle also lowered its head and fell into deep thought. Suddenly, as if it had thought of something, its eyes flashed. It raised its head and stared at Qin Feiyang, saying, "Could there be some treasures hidden under the ground?" "Treasure?" Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. Maybe it was really possible. But after thinking about it carefully, he felt that it was unlikely. That was because the mountain range was very large and boundless. Thus, it was impossible for there to be anything that could turn all the snow there black. After thinking for a while, Qin Feiyang temporarily put aside this doubt and said, let's go and continue to search. A man and an eagle soared into the sky and carefully searched. Not long after. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows, suddenly turned around and glanced at the glacier behind him. What's wrong? The winged snow eagle was surprised. I suddenly have a feeling that there's a pair of eyes secretly watching us. Qin Feiyang frowned. A pair of eyes? The winged snow eagle was stunned. It turned around and glanced at the barren glacier, speechless. There's not even a bird feather. How could there be someone secretly watching us? You must be hallucinating. Hallucinating? Qin Feiyang mumbled. He turned around and continued to move forward. But the feeling of being watched did not disappear. Instead, it became more and more intense. His accumulated experience in the past told him that this was definitely not an illusion. But he did not tell the winged snow eagle. He just secretly became alert. About half an hour later, a lake came into Qin Feiyang's sight. The lake was very big, with a diameter of a few miles. The ice and snow on the lake were also black. Around it, there was a mountain range of different heights. The lake was like a basin, sitting in the middle. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He directly flew over the lake. But when he flew out of the lake, he grabbed the winged snow eagle and dived down like lightning, hiding somewhere in the mountain range. What are you doing? The two-winged snow eagle was confused by his sudden action. Shut up! Qin Feiyang secretly shouted. He hid his aura and looked up without blinking. I really don't know what you're thinking. You're always so suspicious. The winged snow eagle muttered unhappily and also hid his aura to the extreme. Time passed breath by breath. Very soon. 100 breaths passed, but no one appeared at all. What did I say? You're just too suspicious. The winged snow eagle was impatient. It was about to get up, but Qin Feiyang suddenly stretched out his hand and pressed it into the snow. Almost at the same time, a black figure appeared in the void above. It was an old man in black. He was about 1.75 meters tall, skinny, and his face was full of dry wrinkles. Moreover, his white hair was in a mess, as if he hadn't washed it in decades. His eyes were dim and there was a weak and sickly look on his face. His clothes were also very shabby. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were full of holes. In short, this was a very sloppy, very bad, old man who did not seem to have long lifespan. However, Qin Feiyang did not dare to underestimate him. Although he looked like an ordinary old man, how could someone who would appear in such a place be an ordinary person? Someone is really following us. The winged snow eagle broke free from Qin Feiyang's claws and looked at the old man in black with a somewhat unfriendly gaze. Why was this old thing following them sneakily? Where is he? Why is he gone? At the same time, the old man in black muttered to himself and looked around suspiciously. Qin Feiyang secretly said, "Can you see through his cultivation? There's no aura at all. I can't say for sure. However, his life force is very unstable. It should be a sign that he is about to die. Why don't I go and test his depth?" The winged snow eagle transmitted. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, and secretly said, "Okay, be careful. Don't worry, how strong can a person who is about to die be?" The winged snow eagle smiled disdainfully. Boom! The holy aura suddenly burst out of his body. In the next moment, its four wings spread out, and like a graceful swan, it swept towards the old man in black. The old man in black immediately lowered his head to look at the winged snow eagle, a hint of surprise creeping up his face. "Hee, I didn't expect you to find out." Following closely, the old man in black laughed sinisterly, like a ghost laughing shrilly, extremely terrifying. "Don't pretend to be mysterious. The winged snow eagle's eyes turned cold, and instantly returned to its original form, like a towering mountain, ferocious aura rolling in all directions. The pair of eagle claws were like two sharp iron hooks, shining with an astonishing light, grabbing towards the old man in black's head. Hee, the old woman in black laughed sinisterly. Just as the winged snow eagle was approaching, he raised his withered arm and did not dodge. Instead, he slapped the winged snow eagle's sharp claws. Boom! A loud explosion resounding through the heavens and earth. Chirp! The winged snow eagle wailed and was actually sent flying on the spot, blood spurting out of its mouth. The old man in black also retreated continuously, a trace of blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. It's actually a war saint. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang's pupils constricted, full of fear. Chapter 808. The double-winged snow eagle was also shocked. He originally thought that this person's strength would not be very strong, but he did not expect that he was actually on par with it. Tisk, after the old man in black stabilized his body, he stared at the double-winged snow eagle and laughed sinisterly. He even stuck out his tongue and licked the blood at the corner of his mouth. Shwa! Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he flew up into the sky and stood in front of the double-winged snow eagle. He cupped his hands and said, "Senior, it was just a misunderstanding. Please show mercy." The double-winged snow eagle raised his eyebrows and sent a sound transmission. "What do you mean by that? Are you afraid of him?" "I'm not afraid of him. I just have a lot of questions to ask him." Qin Feiyang thought. This person must be very familiar with this place, so he wanted this person to answer the doubts in his heart. At the same time, seeing Qin Feiyang appear, the old man in black's eyes flashed with a strange light, and said, "This old man doesn't think that this is a misunderstanding." Yo-ho! The double-winged snow eagle let out a strange cry. Qin Feiyang also frowned, reached out his hand to stop the irritable double-winged snow eagle, looked at the old man in black and laughed. "Senior, we just met by chance, there is no enmity between us, there is really no need to make a fuss." Then he added, "Moreover, you were the one at fault in the first place." The old man in black's face suddenly became angry. He pointed at the double-winged snow eagle and said angrily, "It sneaked an attack on me, and you still say that I'm in the wrong? It was my idea to sneak an attack on you. But I'm also very curious. Why is Senior following us so sneakily?" Qin Feiyang said. The old man in black said confidently, "A stranger suddenly appeared, of course this old man had to investigate." "That's a very good reason." Qin Feiyang nodded his head very seriously, and then said, "Then let me ask Senior, if it was you and you found out that someone was following you, would you find an opportunity to fight back?" "Yes." The old man in black nodded. "That's right. You followed us, we fought back. This is human nature. What's there to care about?" Qin Feiyang said. "That does seem to make sense." The black-robed old man pondered. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "Then what do you think? Should we?" The old man thought for a moment and said, "If you want this old man to forgive your foolish actions, it's not impossible. This temper of mine, is it not over yet?" Without waiting for the old man in black to finish his words, the dual-winged snow eagle flapped its wings and charged forward ferociously. "Calm down." Qin Feiyang pulled it back, looked at the black-clothed old man, and said with a smile, "Senior, what do you want?" "Longevity pill." The old man in black said. "As expected." Qin Feiyang mumbled. This person's lifespan was nearing its end, and only the life prolongation pill could extend his life. However, there was one thing that he could not figure out. The life prolongation pill was precious, but to a battle saint, it didn't seem to be much, right? Why ask him for it? I have life prolongation pills. But Senior has to answer a few of my questions before I can give it to you. Qin Feiyang said. You have it? The old man in black was overjoyed, and nodded repeatedly. Good, good, good. Quickly ask. Qin Feiyang asked, where is this place? The old man in black was stunned, and said in surprise, you don't know? I don't know. Qin Feiyang shook his head. TSK, TSK, TSK. The old man in black was speechless, and looked at the man and the eagle with a strange expression. He didn't even know where this place was, and yet he dared to come in, as if a newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger. This place is not an ordinary place. This place is called the Black Dragon Glacier, a famous forbidden area in Forgotten Continent. The old man in black said. Black Dragon Glacier? Qin Feiyang and the dual-winged snow eagle looked at each other, and there was a trace of suspicion in their eyes. Let me put it this way, even if a 9-star battle saint enters this place, it would be difficult to walk out alive. The old man in black joked. Is that so? Qin Feiyang looked around suspiciously. There wasn't even a living creature, how could there be danger? Moreover, they didn't encounter any danger along the way. But looking at the old man's expression, it didn't seem like he was joking. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, Senior, please enlighten me. It is said that a long time ago, a black dragon flew from the sky and fell here. It is said that this black dragon was a god, its body was as big as a mountain, and its eyes were like the moon. However, when it fell here, it was already seriously injured, and finally died here. Rumor has it that this black glacier was formed from its body. Because of this, the later generations named it the Black Dragon Glacier. The old man in black explained. God. The man and the eagle looked at each other. This was too unbelievable, wasn't it? The old man in black looked at them and said, this is only a very old legend, whether it is true or not, there is no way to verify, but there is one thing that I am sure of. What? Qin Feiyang asked. The old man in black grinned and said, you will be trapped here forever, just like me. Qin Feiyang frowned. He didn't expect the pagoda master to be so vicious as to give him such a coordinate. What do we do now? The double-winged snow eagle looked at Qin Feiyang worriedly and asked. Qin Feiyang said, don't panic, there is always a way. There is no way. The Black Dragon Glacier is shrouded by a mysterious force, you can only go in, but not out, unless, the old man in black said. Unless what? The double-winged snow eagle perked up and looked at him expectantly. The old man in black grinned and said, unless a god descends. Damn, are you kidding me? The double-winged snow eagle said angrily. It didn't dare to say it before, but in this world, how could there be a god? The old man in black asked, I am curious, how did you get in? We were plotted against. The double-winged snow eagle said angrily. Plotted against? The old man in black was stunned, then he shook his head and sneered, then you are really stupid. Do you want to die? The double-winged snow eagle was already very angry, and the old man in black's words were like adding fuel to the fire. The old man in black said disdainfully, hee, you want to kill me? You don't have the ability. Don't have the ability? The double-winged snow eagle was so angry that it laughed and said, come, I will show you what is really awesome. That's enough, will you die if you stop talking? Qin Feiyang stared at it, then he looked at the old man in black and said, Senior, don't mind it, it is just like that. The old man in black said, it is not good to have this kind of character, if you don't discipline it, it will bring you disaster sooner or later. You are right, Senior. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, then Senior, if you know that the Black Dragon Glacier is so dangerous, why did you come in? Hearing this, the old man in black looked angry and said, this is also related to a damn legend. What legend? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Some people said that before the black dragon died, it left behind a lifetime of inheritance. As long as you can get its inheritance, you will definitely become a god in the future. I took the risk to enter the Black Dragon Glacier for this legend. But when I came in, not only did I not find the so-called inheritance, I was also trapped here and could not get out. It is all because of greed. The old man in black sighed. You believe such a ridiculous rumor, saying that we are stupid. I think you are even more stupid than us. No, you don't have a brain at all. The double-winged snow eagle took the opportunity to start taunting. But unexpectedly, the old man in black not only did not get angry, but also nodded in agreement. His old face was also full of regret. Qin Feiyang also sympathized with this person. It was not worth it to put oneself in such a desperate situation for a fleeting legend. However, was it really a legend? There is a saying, there is no smoke without fire. There must be a reason for the birth of this legend. Qin Feiyang asked, have you looked everywhere? Yes. The old man in black nodded, thought for a while and said, but there is one place that I have not been to. What place? Qin Feiyang asked. In the center of the Black Dragon Glacier, there is a giant peak filled with a mysterious force. Once people get close, there will be a drastic change. The old man in black said, as if he thought of something, his face was full of horror. What drastic change? Qin Feiyang was surprised. The old man in black said, it deprives the life of living things, making them grow old step by step until they finally die. What? Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle were both shocked. The double-winged snow eagle asked, is your current appearance related to that place? Yes. The old man in black nodded, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, when I first came here, although I was not as young as you, I was still in the prime of my life. But when I went to climb that giant peak, in less than 100 breaths, almost all of my life was taken away, making me look like this. I hate it. The old man in black cried. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled, and said, then when did you come in? Half a year ago. The old man in black said. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang muttered. The old man in black did not have a prolongation pill, which finally explained. A man in the prime of his life, and a battle saint, living for 10,000 years was not a problem. How could he carry a prolongation pill with him? Perhaps before entering the Black Dragon Glacier, he did not even think about this problem. Therefore, it was normal that he did not have a prolongation pill. Sigh. The old man in black sighed deeply, and said, I can clearly feel that I have a few more hours to live, so little brother, I beg you, no matter what, give me a prolongation pill. The more he spoke, the more painful he was. In the end, he knelt in the void, and begged Qin Feiyang. Senior, you can't do this, please get up. Qin Feiyang hurried to help the old man in black. But just as he stretched out his hand, the old man in black's eyes suddenly burst out with a cold light. That aged hand was like a demonic claw that wanted to take Qin Feiyang's life as it reached for his heart. On his old face, there was an extremely cruel smile. You, Qin Feiyang was startled and angry at the same time. He disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. The old man in black turned pale with fright. Where did he go? The old man in black's sudden sneak attack was completely unexpected by the double-winged snow eagle. But when it came back to its senses, that pair of sharp eagle eyes burst out with a bone-piercing killing intent. Old bastard, you're dead today. With a roar, the heavenly thunder sword appeared, and the holy power rolled in all directions. Clang! Immediately after, accompanied by a deafening sound, the heavenly thunder sword cut through the sky, carrying a world-destroying sharpness, and furiously slashed towards the old man in black. What? This is a sacred artifact. Looking at the flashing heavenly thunder sword, the old man in black's body trembled, and hurriedly turned and ran. Swish. It was also at this time. Qin Feiyang appeared again, and his face was extremely gloomy. If it were not for the ancient castle, this time he would definitely die in the hands of this old man. Chapter 809. He looked at the dual-winged snow eagle and said, "Don't let him run away." "Don't worry, he won't be able to run away." The dual-winged snow eagle smiled confidently. Its light wings appeared and it flew away like lightning. The old man in black also had an auxiliary battle art, but it was only a superior one. It couldn't compare to the dual-winged snow eagle. In a few blinks of an eye, the dual-winged snow eagle stood in front of the old man in black and sneered, "Still want to run?" Clang! At the same time, Qin Feiyang also stepped forward, grabbed the heavenly thunder sword and stood behind the old man in black. "Oh my God, I forgot to put away the heavenly thunder sword." Seeing this, the dual-winged snow eagle was a little angry. Qin Feiyang ignored it and looked at the old man in black. His eyes were extremely cold. "Do you know what happened to those who schemed against me?" The old man in black trembled and hurriedly begged, "I was wrong, please let me go. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Tell me immediately, where is this place?" Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "This is the Black Dragon Glacier, I didn't lie to you. Yes, I do want to kill you and steal your Qianquan bag, but what I said to you before is true. I can swear, if there is even half a lie, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." The old man in black shouted anxiously. Qin Feiyang said, "Why did you steal my Qianquan bag? Just because of the prolonging life pill?" The old man in black stammered, his face full of panic. "Speak!" Qin Feiyang shouted coldly. Okay, I'll speak. The prolonging life pill is only one of the reasons why I stole your Qianquan bag. Most importantly, I need the battle chi pill. Because I have to break through quickly. Only by breaking through can my lifespan increase. Otherwise, even if I take the prolonging life pill, it can only alleviate the current situation. In the end, I will still die. The old man in black said. "I see." Qin Feiyang muttered. For a person who was about to die, breaking through was actually the key. Because every time he broke through a small realm, his lifespan would double. Prolonging life pill, although it could extend one's lifespan, there was a limit. For example, a prolonging life pill could only extend 200 years of life. Once the time was up, he would still die. And 200 years, to an ordinary person's lifespan. But for the old to the old to war to the old man in black. Sometimes, to Qianquan bag t. Similarly, to q t to realm. Compt t to realm to break t tut. The black-clothed old man definitely did not have the confidence to break through to the next level after taking the prolongation pill, so he had the idea of snatching the battle chi pill. This was because absorbing the energy of the battle chi pill was several times faster than absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. Qin Feiyang asked, "Don't you have battle chi pills?" The black-clothed old man nodded and said, "Yes, but how would I know that I would be trapped to death here?" To. You can tell me. I'll definitely give you some. Why do you have to use such an extreme method? Qin Feiyang sighed, feeling a little regretful. The old man in black was startled, and said, "The battle chi pill is so precious, will you give it to me?" Precious? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He didn't even know how many battle chi pills he had. What was so precious about them? But then, he laughed bitterly. Battle chi pills were indeed nothing to him. But on the market, the price of battle chi pills was ridiculously high. Because anyone who stepped into the War King needed battle chi pills. How many people in this world had stepped into the War King? It was impossible to count. Although there were people who specially cultivated the medicinal ingredients for the battle chi pill, it still required time. This was the reason why there were too many monks and too little porridge. Naturally, the battle chi pill became extremely precious in the eyes of the world. But the most important thing was that the Black Dragon Glacier was isolated from the outside world, so it was impossible to buy battle chi pills. Thus, the battle chi pill became even more precious. But even so, he couldn't forgive this old man in black. He could make a mistake, but he could only make it once. This person had followed him before, and after being discovered by him, not only did he not apologize in the slightest, he even took the opportunity to ask for the prolonging life pill. Fine, isn't it just a prolonging life pill? It doesn't matter. Here. Moreover, he even treated him with courtesy and respectfully called him senior. Wasn't this already considered as being extremely benevolent? But this old man in black didn't know what was good for him, and actually wanted to kill him. Even a sneak attack. This was something he couldn't accept. Who? Taking a deep breath, Qin Feiyang looked at the old man in black expressionlessly and said, "Do you want to do it yourself, or do you want us to do it?" The old man in black's expression changed, and he hurriedly said, Don't, little brother, let's talk, looks like we need to do it." Qin Feiyang's eyes surged with killing intent as he nodded to the double-winged snow eagle. Ha ha. The double-winged snow eagle laughed coldly and flew towards the old man in black. "I beg you, please let me go. And look at this, there's no one here, there's no point in killing me," the old man in black said in horror. If it was just Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle, he would still dare to fight. But the other party had a sacred artifact in hand, so he really didn't have the courage to fight. Moreover, even if he did, the other party could completely disappear without a trace like just now. In other words, he had no chance of winning at all. Qin Feiyang's face was cold and he remained silent. The old man in black really couldn't find a reason, and was left with a heart full of fear. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said, "How about this, I'll be your subordinate. You might not know, but my cultivation level at my peak was an 8-star battle saint. I can definitely help you." 8-star battle saint. Qin Feiyang was shocked. He knew that this person's peak strength was definitely not just a 1-star battle saint, but he didn't expect him to be an 8-star battle saint. He was only 2 steps away from a battle emperor. Frankly speaking, he was tempted. Now, the enemies he encountered were getting stronger and stronger. And because of those rumors, he was already the public enemy of the Forgotten Continent. At this time, if he had an 8-star battle saint by his side, it would save him a lot of trouble. As for this Black Dragon Glacier, he didn't plan to stay here forever. The double-winged snow eagle was getting closer and closer, its ferocious aura was threatening. The old man in black was anxious and angry at this moment. To think that he was an 8-star battle saint, no matter where he went, he was an existence that people looked up to. But at this moment, he was actually wagging his tail and begging for pity in front of a 7-star battle saint. How sad. Heavens, what did I do wrong for you to treat me like this? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He couldn't help but roar, madly venting the grievances in his heart. Qin Feiyang still didn't speak. He looked at the old man in black, his eyes flickering. Just as the double-winged snow eagle was about to attack, he stretched out his hand and said, "Wait." The double-winged snow eagle was stunned and suspiciously asked, "You really plan to let him go?" At the same time, the old man in black seemed to have seen a glimmer of hope as he stared fixedly at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang glanced at the double-winged snow eagle and said with a faint smile, "An 8-star battle saint is crying and begging to follow me, how can I refuse?" Despicable. The double-winged snow eagle rolled its eyes in disdain. Qin Feiyang smiled and looked at the old man in black, saying, I can spare your life, but the condition is that I want you to cripple your cultivation. Cripple my cultivation? The old man in black's face instantly turned pale. If he lost his cultivation, then what was the point of living? He might as well die. The double-winged snow eagle was also confused. This guy, what the hell is he planning? Qin Feiyang said, cripple or not, answer me. The old man in black said in a low voice, are you serious? Qin Feiyang said, do I look like I'm joking? The old man in black clenched his fists and roared, I'd rather die than lose my cultivation. If you continue to force me, then I'll fight you to the death. You have a backbone. Qin Feiyang nodded with satisfaction and said, what if I just make you lose your cultivation temporarily? Temporarily? The old man in black opened his eyes and said, what do you want, can you just say it? Qin Feiyang said, you don't have the right to ask questions now, just say yes or no. The old man in black was in a dilemma. If it was just a temporary loss of cultivation, he could accept it. However, he was afraid that Qin Feiyang would play tricks on him. I remember you said that you only have a few hours to live, so I won't kill you. You can stay here and slowly wait for your death. Let's go. Qin Feiyang said and turned to leave. Knowing that you're about to die, but unable to do anything, you can only wait for your death. This is much more painful than dying directly. Just wait for your death. The double-winged snow eagle laughed mockingly and flapped its wings, chasing after Qin Feiyang. The old man in black was trembling both physically and mentally. Of course, he knew this. Because before Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle came, he had already experienced this feeling. It was also because of this that when he saw Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle, he felt like he saw his savior and followed them all the way, looking for a good opportunity to kill them. But he never thought that Qin Feiyang would notice. He also did not expect that this man and eagle had a divine weapon. Not only did they not get the Cosmos bag, but they also fell to this point. It was ridiculous to think about it. Hey, you can't do this, give the heavenly thunder sword back to me. Shame on you, it's obviously mine. Tisk, it's mine when it's in my hands. You're the most shameless eagle I've ever seen. So? I'm shameless, bite me. Fine, I'll give it to you. The old man in black heard this conversation from afar. He looked up at Qin Feiyang's back, his eyes full of disbelief. He always thought that the heavenly thunder sword belonged to the double-winged snow eagle, but it turned out to be Qin Feiyang's. He was even willing to give the divine weapon to the double-winged snow eagle. Wasn't this a bit too generous? Or could it be that the divine weapon was nothing in this man's eyes? If that was the case, then his identity. Thinking of this, the old man in black's body trembled, his eyes bursting with a strong light. That was hope, joy. If this man really had a big background, then maybe there was a chance to leave this damn place. Wait. He did not hesitate and shouted at Qin Feiyang, if it's only temporary, I'm willing to destroy my cultivation. Hearing this. Chapter 8:10. The two-winged snow eagle looked at him in confusion and asked, what are you doing? Qin Feiyang said, enslavement seal. Enslavement seal? I've heard from Fatso and the others that the enslavement seal is only effective on those who are weaker than you. Those who are stronger than you will suffer from the backlash, right? The two-winged snow eagle said. That's right. That's why I forced him to destroy his cultivation. Because as long as the enslavement seal is completed, even if he regains the cultivation of an 8-star battle saint, he will still be under my control. On the contrary, if he still has his cultivation, I will suffer from the backlash. Qin Feiyang said. So that's how it is. The two-winged snow eagle suddenly understood and said, but there's no need to go through so much trouble. With our methods, it's easy to destroy his cultivation. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, we have to convince him with virtue. The two-winged snow eagle was stunned and then rolled its eyes. Convince him with virtue? How shameless of him. Whoosh! The old man in black flew behind Qin Feiyang and pleaded, please, help me. Qin Feiyang turned around and smiled, when you destroy your cultivation, I'll definitely help you. I hope you can keep your promise. The old man in black gritted his teeth and slapped his lower abdomen, immediately spitting out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, with a cracking sound, his sea of qi also shattered. With his qi sea shattered, he lost his cultivation. At this moment, he was equivalent to an ordinary person without any aura. Congratulations, your trick worked. The two-winged snow eagle laughed secretly, but with a hint of disdain. Qin Feiyang didn't mind at all. A wave of aura emerged and supported the old man in black. Because he had lost his cultivation, the old man in black couldn't stand in the void. Immediately, he formed a seal with both hands and a trace of obscure aura spread out from his hands. Not long after, buzz! A ray of light appeared and a mark the size of a baby's palm appeared. Open your mind, don't resist. After saying this to the old man in black, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the mark turned into a ray of light and flew into the old man's head. The old man in black immediately screamed in pain, his face distorted. He only felt that his head was about to explode. The pain coming from his sea of consciousness made him wish he was dead. Look, Qin Feiyang over there. Suddenly, a loud roar. There's someone else? Qin Feiyang was startled and looked towards the source of the sound. Immediately, he saw 3 black-robed old men in the air above a distant icy mountain. Their auras were unfathomable and behind the 3 men, there were 3 men Monty were all dressed in gorgeous robes and stood proudly in the sky. Their gazes were extremely cold. And the aura they emitted was even stronger than the 3 old men. Who are they? The Snow Eagle. Qin Feiyang sneered, to be able to recognize me at a glance, who else do you think? The Snow Eagle said, you mean, they are from the 3rd district? Qin Feiyang nodded. That's not right. The Snow Eagle shook its head. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang looked at it suspiciously. Have you forgotten? The guard commander told us that other than the city lord and the tower master, the strongest in the 3rd district are the Black Lion, Red Smoke, and Songhai tribes leaders and high priest. They are all 1-star battle saints. But those 3 middle-aged men are 2-star battle saints, and those 3 old men are 1-star battle saints. This is the first point of suspicion. The second point of suspicion, where is this place? This is the Black Dragon Glacier, a famous forbidden area in the Forgotten Continent. The Tower Master of the 3rd District must know this, otherwise he would not have tricked us here. Since he knows, then there is no need for him to send people to kill us. Anyway, we will be trapped here until we die. The two-winged snow eagle analyzed. His analysis was reasonable. Makes sense. Qin Feiyang nodded. But if they are not from the 3rd district, then which district are they from? Whoosh! The 6 people pierced through the sky and rushed toward Qin Feiyang like lightning, their bodies full of murderous intent. Humph! The snow-eyed eagle snorted and flapped its wings, blocking in front of Qin Feiyang, and shouted, "Who are you?" "We are here to kill you," one of the old men said coldly. Without waiting for any further explanation, he waved his hand, causing his battle aura to surge out as a huge black sword appeared in front of him. This was a battle art. The other 5 people also performed their battle arts. Boom! Streaks of terrifying aura instantly spread out in all directions with this place as the center. Crack! Boom! Before the battle even started, a large part of the glacier had already collapsed. "I think you guys are going to heaven." The snow-ed eagle's eyes turned cold and instantly activated the goshawk overlord body. Its whole body was blood red and its aura was doubled. However, the 6 people were not surprised and did not panic at all. It was as if they already knew that the snow-ed eagle had mastered perfect battle arts. Die! Following their shouts, the 6 great battle arts charged towards the double-winged snow eagle with terrifying sharpness. "You are the ones who are going to die." The snow-ed eagle was furious. A wave of blood-red battle chi rushed out of its body and rushed toward the 6 battle arts. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the 6 battle arts and battle chi collided with each other like comets colliding. A wave of destructive chi spread out in all directions, covering the sky and covering the earth. Accompanied by loud noises, the land within a radius of 10 miles was razed to the ground. It was a scene of devastation. Puff! At the same time, the snow-ed eagle spat out a mouthful of blood. Its huge body was blown away and it was in a sorry state. Among the 6 people, only the 3 old men were seriously injured. Although their cultivation level was similar to the snow-ed eagle, the snow-ed eagle had mastered perfect battle arts. Naturally, its combat power was higher than theirs. However, the 3 middle-aged men were not hurt at all. They were all 2-star battle saints and had mastered superior battle arts. Their individual combat power was enough to compete with the snow-ed eagle, not to mention the 3 of them working together. Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened. Although the 6 people's cultivation level was not as high as the Tower Master and the City Lord of the 3rd District, they outnumbered them. The most important thing was that the 6 people seemed to know everything about them. Back then, when they faced the leaders of the 3 tribes and the City Lord and the Tower Master in Tianyang City, they were able to win not because of their strength but because of their tactics and strategies. But now, the 6 people knew them well. Tactics and strategies were useless and they could only face them head-on. If there were only the 3 old men, they would not be afraid of facing them head-on. They could even kill them. But the 3 middle-aged men were too strong. With the help of the 3 old men, even if they took out the Sky Thunder Sword and Ice Blade, they would not be able to stop them. After all, Qin Feiyang and the Snow-Ed Eagle did not have the ability to revive these 2 sacred artifacts. However, now, Qin Feiyang had an even more terrifying trump card in his hands. In the blink of an eye, when the Snow-Ed Eagle was sent flying, the slave seal was completed. Qin Feiyang could clearly feel that the fate of the old man in black was now under his control. Swoosh! He took out a spirit sea pill and threw it to the old man in black. This is actually 4 elixir veins. The old man in black caught the spirit sea pill, his eyes filled with shock. Don't dawdle. Quickly repair your Qi Si. We are still waiting for you. Qin Feiyang urged. This spirit sea pill was refined by him in the past. If the old man in black knew that he could refine elixir veins now, wouldn't he be even more shocked? Okay. The old man in black quivered and quickly put the spirit sea pill into his mouth. This was still not enough. Qin Feiyang took out his flame of life. This was because it would take some time to repair the Qi Si. Although the spirit sea pill had 4 elixir veins and its effect was multiplied, in the current situation, the sooner the better. The flame of life's recovery ability was even more terrifying than the spirit sea pill. When the 2 were combined, the recovery time would undoubtedly be shortened. Of course. During this period of time, the old man in black had to be delayed by the Snow-Ed Eagle. Clang! After stabilizing its huge body, it decisively took out the Sky Thunder Sword. The terrifying sharpness could topple mountains and overturn seas. One of the middle-aged men had a trace of ridicule in his eyes. He said to the three old men, "We'll go and stall that bastard. You guys go and kill that old bastard, then take care of Qin Feiyang." The three old men nodded. Whoosh! The six of them moved out almost at the same time. They split into two groups and charged toward the Snow-Ed Eagle and Qin Feiyang. This was because they had already guessed that the old man in black might be a big shot. If they waited for his Qi to be repaired, he might betray them. The Snow-Ed Eagle's eyes darkened. It sent a message to Qin Feiyang, "I can only deal with the three of them. As for the three old dogs, you have to find a way to deal with them yourself." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. Swoosh! The Snow-Ed Eagle immediately activated its fighting soul and charged toward the three middle-aged men. Clang! Rumble! A bloody battle began. The three men and the Snow-Ed Eagle fought crazily in the sky. For a moment, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. The void shook. However, the three middle-aged men did not clash with the Sky Thunder Sword. They only tangled with the Snow-Ed Eagle. This was because they did not dare to. Although the Sky Thunder Sword could only unleash 1/10 of its original power, it was still very hard. It was also very sharp. It was not an exaggeration to say that even an 8-star battle saint would be at a disadvantage if they clashed with the Sky Thunder Sword, not to mention a 2-star battle saint. However, if the three of them did not clash head-on, the Snow-Ed Eagle could not do anything to them. This was because the three of them also had auxiliary combat arts. Although they were only superior, their cultivation level was one level higher than the Snow-Ed Eagle. Therefore, their speed was on par with the Snow-Ed Eagle that had activated its fighting soul. Of course, if there was only one of them, the Snow-Ed Eagle would definitely be able to crush him with the Sky Thunder Sword. Unfortunately, there were three of them working together. In short, the three of them were on par with the Snow-Ed Eagle. No one could do anything to the other. Below, Qin Feiyang did not hesitate to stand in front of the old man in black. He looked at the three aggressive old men. One of the old men sneered, "You think you can protect him?" "Yes, I can." Qin Feiyang nodded his head. "Huh." The three of them did not hide their ridicule. Qin Feiyang was not moved at all. He said calmly, "I have a hiding treasure. I can bring them to hide first. But do you know why I don't do that? A hiding treasure." Chapter 8:11. Because there's no need. It's also because you don't have the ability to kill me. Of course, if you're willing to turn back now, I can consider letting you go. Qin Feiyang said. No ability? Haha, this old man has never seen someone as arrogant as you in his entire life. Young man, although you do have some ability, it's best to be humble. The three of them sneered. Qin Feiyang shrugged his shoulders, and said, I'm that arrogant, so what? Actually, what he did had nothing to do with arrogance. He wanted to influence the old man in black. Although the old man in black did not dare to betray him due to the restriction of the slave seal, there would always be a barrier and he would not be able to truly unite with everyone. So, he wanted to use this method to prove his sincerity and make the old man in black follow him wholeheartedly. There's a price to pay for being arrogant. The three old men's eyes turned cold as they raised their arms at the same time. Battle chi surged on their fingertips, emitting a shocking aura. Clang! At the same time, accompanied by a deafening sound, the ice blade appeared in front of Qin Feiyang. The holy might surged, shaking all directions. One of the old men laughed sinisterly, even if you have a sacred artifact, you won't be able to stop us. Die! 3 streaks of dazzling battle chi shot out from the fingertips of the 3 men. Like 3 giant pythons, they bared their fangs and roared towards Qin Feiyang. Go! Qin Feiyang bellowed as the ice blade pierced through the air and collided with the 3 streaks of battle qi at lightning speed. With a clang, the 3 streaks of battle qi instantly disintegrated and the 3 of them spat out a mouthful of blood. Although it had not recovered, just this tenth of its power was enough to contend against the 3 of them. After all, these 3 people were not as strong as the 3 middle-aged men. They were only 1-star battle sect. But at the same time, the ice blade was also sent flying, but it was not damaged in the slightest. On the other hand, Qin Feiyang was indirectly injured. Blood flowed out of his mouth and his body trembled violently. But he didn't even frown. With a thought, the ice blade paused in the air and then turned back, once again charging towards the 3 of them. Quickly evolve the battle art. Only battle arts can contend against that saint artifact. One of the old men shouted. The other 2 nodded. Boom! The 3 of them waved their hands, and terrifying auras rolled out crazily. Qin Feiyang's face also showed a trace of seriousness. The difference between using battle arts and not using battle arts was too great. Without using any battle arts, the 3 of them were just ordinary 1-star battle saints. The ice blades were more than enough to kill them. However, once they used their battle arts, they would be able to display the strength of a 4-star battle saint. This was no joke. In just the blink of an eye, the 3 great battle arts appeared out of thin air, surging waves of energy. Under the impact of the shockwave, Qin Feiyang was like a small boat, teetering on the verge of collapse. Looking at Qin Feiyang's situation, the ridicule in the eyes of the 3 old men became even more intense. Die! The 3 of them roared. 3 great battle arts swept across the sky and blasted toward the ice blade. Clang! The ice blade's sharpness was unparalleled, and it actually destroyed a battle art. But at the same time, the ice blade was once again sent flying. Qin Feiyang spat out blood, and his body trembled violently. Even the skin all over his body cracked, and his battle blood splattered. In an instant, he became a bloody man. He did not hesitate to use the battle art. Moreover, every cell in his body was releasing a majestic life energy, repairing his damaged body. This was the energy of the fire of life. His life was saved, but the crisis was not over. This was because the other 2 great battle arts were still intact, and they were madly attacking him. The lethality of the 2 great battle arts was comparable to a 4-star battle saint's full force attack. This was no joke. If he was affected, even if he had merged with the fire of life, even if he had the battle art to protect his body, he would not be able to escape death. He glanced at the 2 battle arts, and his eyes were rather gloomy. Suddenly, a trace of madness crept onto his face. With a slight change of thought, the ice blade that flew back like lightning, and slashed toward one of the battle arts. Boom! An earth-shattering sound suddenly exploded between heaven and earth. The previous situation happened again. The battle art turned into ashes. The ice blade, like a meteor, pierced through the air. And Qin Feiyang's injuries had undoubtedly worsened again. It was simply one disaster after another. Don't you have a treasure to hide in? Quickly hide in it, don't worry about me. Looking at Qin Feiyang's bloody back, the old man in black could not help but feel hot in his eyes as he roared. In fact, he also noticed that Qin Feiyang was deliberately doing this for him to see. To put it bluntly, it was acting. But even if it was acting, how could he not be moved when he saw a person standing in front of him regardless of life and death? He was not cold-hearted. However, Qin Feiyang did not seem to hear him, and did not retreat at all. He once again controlled the ice blade and slashed toward the 3rd battle art. At the same time, he waved his hand, and the old man in black, along with the fire of life, quickly landed on a mountain peak below. The old man in black had not recovered his cultivation. Without his help, he would not be able to stand in the air. And this collision, he had a feeling that it would not bode well for him, so he had to let the old man in black have a foothold first. Boom! The next moment, the ice blade and the battle art collided with a loud bang, like a sudden clap of thunder, shaking all directions. Puff! Qin Feiyang spat out blood. Like a meteorite, he flew out horizontally, smashing one mountain peak after another, and finally crashed into a mountain range in the distance. With a loud bang, the mountain range collapsed, drowning him. At the same time, the ice blade also sank into the ground, causing widespread destruction. It's obviously just an act. Why did he have to fight so hard? Is he stupid? Looking at this scene, the old man in black, standing on the mountain peak below, could not help but show a painful expression. He's not stupid, he just wants you to see his attitude clearly. Do you know what that cluster of flames is? It's the legendary fire of life. He's even willing to give you the fire of life. Don't you understand his intentions? The double-winged snow eagle fought and sighed. Attitude, fire of life, the old man in black murmured, stretched out his hand, and the fire of life fell into his palm. Looking at the fire of life, his eyes were extremely complicated. The three old men, with a smug smile on their faces, swooped down, and charged towards the old man in black. But the old man in black did not seem to notice, and did not move. Seeing this, the double-winged snow eagle was shocked, and shouted, "Why aren't you running, do you want to die?" However, the old man in black still did not move. One is more stupid than the other. How did this emperor meet this group of idiots? The double-winged snow eagle was extremely angry. Suddenly, a surge of battle chi poured into the heavenly thunder sword, instantly erasing Qin Feiyang's blood contract. Immediately after, it spat a mouthful of blood on the heavenly thunder sword, and the heavenly thunder sword immediately emitted a bloody light. But soon, the bloody light dimmed, but at the same time, the heavenly thunder sword's holy aura soared. What? You actually dare to revive the sacred artifact, are you courting death? The three middle-aged men's expressions changed. The three old men, who were charging towards the old man in black, also stopped in the void, their faces full of shock. A one-star battle saint reviving a sacred artifact, was simply digging his own grave. Do you think this emperor wants to? But meeting this group of idiots, what can this emperor do? I can only risk my life. The double-winged snow eagle said unhappily. Although it was a little unhappy, there was no fear in its expression. One of the middle-aged men roared, "You are simply a group of lunatics. Thank you for the compliment." The double-winged snow eagle laughed, the battle chi and blood chi in its body surged crazily, rushing towards the heavenly thunder sword. Don't be fooled by its frivolous appearance, in fact, it was really reviving the heavenly thunder sword. Before this, although the heavenly thunder sword had been occupied by the double-winged snow eagle, the blood contract inside still belonged to Qin Feiyang. If it was not revived, as long as one had a certain level of strength, anyone could play with it. But to revive it, it must be the real owner of the heavenly thunder sword. So, it erased Qin Feiyang's blood contract. At this moment, the old man in black finally reacted, lifting his head to look at the double-winged snow eagle. For the sake of their companions, it did not matter even if they had to sacrifice their lives. What kind of people were they? One must know. This world was very cruel. No matter how good the relationship was, it could not withstand a single blow in the face of benefits. It was really rare to see such a relationship where life and death would not leave each other. So, he felt that it was a little unreal. This snow eagle was also acting. But, who would joke about their own life? Obviously not. The old man in black was moved. Swoosh! He retracted his gaze, staring at the flame of life, and kept roaring in his heart, "Hurry, hurry, hurry, or it will be too late." At the same time, the heavenly thunder sword was shining brighter and brighter. The sacred aura was also getting stronger and stronger. The 3 middle-aged men and the 3 old men were forced to retreat. One of the middle-aged men pointed at the old man in black, and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Go and kill that old thing." Yes. It forcefully revives the sacred artifact. It is purely digging its own grave. We don't have to care about it at all. As long as we kill that old thing, when this beast is dead, Qin Feiyang, whose life and death is unknown, is equivalent to a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. The other 2 men shouted. Heard. The 3 old men were invigorated, and once again rushed towards the old man in black. The idea is beautiful, but the reality is cruel. But at this time, the double-winged snow eagle smiled disdainfully, and also dived towards the old man in black with the heavenly thunder sword. At this moment, the sacred aura emitted by the heavenly thunder sword was comparable to that of a 5th or 6th war saint. The 3 old men did not dare to continue. They were scared out of their wits, and hurriedly ran away. Whoosh! The double-winged snow eagle landed beside the old man in black like lightning. But in the face of this terrifying sacred aura, the old man in black was not affected at all. Even the giant peak under their feet did not tremble at all. It was not because the old man in black had recovered his cultivation, nor was it because the giant peak under their feet could withstand the impact of the sacred aura, but because the double-winged snow eagle was now the true master of the heavenly thunder sword, and could control the sacred aura of the heavenly thunder sword as it wished. It looked at the old man in black, and asked, "How much longer do you need?" "About 100 breaths. The old man in black said in a deep voice. 100 breaths is too long. Looks like this time, we are going to be played to death by ourselves." The double-winged snow eagle sighed. It was no longer the case that it was reviving the heavenly thunder sword. It was the heavenly thunder sword that took the initiative to rob the blood in its body. In just a short while, it had already lost 1/3 of its blood. Therefore, the remaining 2/3 was not enough to last it 100 breaths. "Don't worry, none of us will die today." But suddenly. Chapter 8:12. The double-winged snow eagle and the old man in black were stunned. They quickly ran to the edge of the cliff and looked down. They saw Qin Feiyang standing at the foot of the mountain. Although his face was pale and his body was covered in blood, his eyes were extremely sharp. Weren't you blown away? Why are you here?" The double-winged snow eagle was surprised. Qin Feiyang looked at the 6 people standing in the sky and sneered, "If I flew over openly, would they let me meet up with you?" "That's true." The man and the eagle nodded. The main goal of these 6 people coming to the Black Dragon Glacier was Qin Feiyang. If they saw that he was not dead, they would definitely think of ways to stop him. Therefore, quietly lurking here was the wisest choice. The 6 people's faces were also quite gloomy. They thought that after suffering such a severe injury, even if Qin Feiyang did not die, he would be crippled. But they did not expect that he was still alive and kicking. Could this guy be the reincarnation of a cockroach? Whoosh! Qin Feiyang jumped up and landed beside the double-winged snow eagle and the old man in black. Then, with a thought. Clang! Accompanied by a loud ear-piercing sound, a bright flowing light swept out from the ground in the distance, heading straight for Qin Feiyang. It was the ice blade. "Stop it!" Seeing the ice blade, the 3 middle-aged men's eyes lit up. At the same time, they shouted and rushed towards the ice blade. Right now, the thing that gave them the most headache was the heavenly thunder sword. If they also had a sacred weapon, the heavenly thunder sword would naturally no longer be a threat to them. So, they set their sights on the ice blade. As long as they got the ice blade, they would have the power to fight against the heavenly thunder sword. Moreover, Their cultivation was higher than Qin Feiyang. As long as they could get their hands on it, they could immediately erase the blood contract inside. But what they could think of, Qin Feiyang could naturally think of as well. Just as the three of them were about to move, Qin Feiyang's mind stirred. The ice blade turned in the air and with a boom, it once again sank into the ground. Following closely. The ice blade was like a pangolin beast, shuttling through the ground at high speed, rushing towards the giant peak where Qin Feiyang was at lightning speed. Crack! Clang! In less than 3 breaths. The ice blade flew out from the ground beneath Qin Feiyang's feet and floated in front of him. The faces of the 3 middle-aged men were immediately filled with anger. Don't worry, the best part is yet to come. Qin Feiyang sneered. The ice blade disappeared in an instant. Then, he struck out with his palm. A surge of vigorous qi and blood gushed toward the heavenly thunder sword like a torrent. Meanwhile, Lu Hong and the pangolin appeared beside him. Without waiting for Qin Feiyang's instructions, they immediately channeled their qi and blood into the heavenly thunder sword. What a bunch of lunatics! The 6 people looked at Qin Feiyang and his group in shock and anger. A saint weapon was an existence comparable to a 9-star battle saint. Not to mention Qin Feiyang and the others, even if there were more than 10 of them, they still wouldn't be able to revive it. Because the difference in strength was too great. Were they really not afraid of death? The old man in black stared blankly at Qin Feiyang and the others. Sharing life and death, sharing trials and tribulations. Was this the friendship between friends? No. The relationship between this group of people had far surpassed that of friends. They were family that couldn't be separated. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and repair your qi. With everyone's help, it won't be a problem to delay it for 100 breaths. The double-winged snow eagle urged. Okay. The old man in black nodded and closed his eyes to concentrate on repairing his qi. An old man above mocked, not a problem. I think it's a big problem. It's none of your business. The double-winged snow eagle said angrily. Yes. What does it have to do with us if you want to die? Actually, this is good. It saves us the trouble of doing it. The old man crossed his arms and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others gloatingly. The 5 people beside him also sneered. The double-winged snow eagle raised his eyebrows and said, Qin Feiyang, let's go to the castle. The Sky Thunder Sword is no longer under our control. It's useless to go to the castle. Qin Feiyang shook his head and looked at the 6 people. He frowned and said, Who are you? Right, I forgot to introduce myself. The old man patted his head and pointed at the 3 middle-aged men. He said, These 3 have a big background. Listen, they are the leaders of the 3 super tribes in the 4th area. The 4th area. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. He looked at the 3 people and said, I have no grudge with you. Why are you attacking me? You have no grudge with us. But we have no choice. This is the Tower Master's order. We have to obey. One of the middle-aged men sneered. Which Tower Master? The Tower Master of the 3rd area? Or the Tower Master of the 4th area? Qin Feiyang frowned. The middle-aged man said, Of course, the Tower Master of the 4th area. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. He looked at the 3 old men and said, What about you? Us. Do you remember the Crimson Smoke tribe, the Black Lion tribe, and the Songhai tribe? We are the high priests of these 3 tribes. You killed our leaders. This blood debt must be paid with your life. The 3 of them said coldly. I was wondering who it was. So it's the small fries of those 3 tribes. So, it was the Tower Master of the 4th area who sent you to kill me? Qin Feiyang said disdainfully. One of the old men's face sank. He said, "You'd better be polite. I even dared to kill your leaders. Why should I be polite to you? But I'm curious. Don't you know how dangerous this place is? Why did you come in?" Qin Feiyang said. "Of course we know. But the two tower masters promised that they have a way to get us out." One of the middle-aged men smiled. "The two tower masters?" Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment, then he murmured, "So that's how it is." It seemed that the tower masters of the third and fourth areas had joined hands. But why was that? Kill him? But he was now trapped in the Black Dragon Glacier. As the two-winged snow eagle said, there was no need for that. The two of them should have other motives. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He looked at the 6 people and said, "The two tower masters only sent you to kill me? What else could it be?" The 6 people sneered. "I understand." Qin Feiyang whispered. "What do you understand?" Lu Hong asked in a low voice. Qin Feiyang said, "These 6 people are just cannon fodder." "You mean, the tower masters of the third and fourth areas might come to the Black Dragon Glacier?" Lu Hong was surprised. Qin Feiyang said, "If they really have other plans, they will definitely come. But I really can't guess what they want." Lu Hong pondered for a moment and said, "Could it be that they want our sacred artifacts?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. He thought for a moment and said, "Don't say it, it's really possible." The two-winged snow eagle said, "No matter what, these 2 people must die." Qin Feiyang, Lu Hong, and the pangolin all nodded. Time passed breath by breath. 80 breaths. Qin Feiyang and the others had lost more than half of their qi and blood. All of them were as thin as firewood, and their eyes were lifeless. The heavenly thunder sword was like a scorching sun, shining brightly, and the sacred aura it emitted was getting more and more terrifying. Lu Hong said, "There are still 20 breaths left. We can definitely hold on." However, before she finished speaking, the 2 people and 2 beasts' expressions changed. The heavenly thunder sword seemed to have suddenly gone crazy, crazily absorbing their qi and blood. "What's going on?" The pangolin was surprised. The closer it is to the end, the more qi and blood it needs to revive the sacred artifacts. "I'm afraid we can't hold on for the remaining 20 breaths." Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "Then what should we do?" The double-winged snow eagle panicked. It dared to revive the sacred artifacts, but it did not mean that it was not afraid of death. If only Fatso and Wolf King were here, they could help. The pangolin sighed. Another 10 breaths passed. "No, I can't hold on anymore," Lu Hong murmured. Her long black hair had turned snow-white, and her originally delicate skin was now full of wrinkles. Her clear eyes were also turbid, like a lamp that had run out of oil. Qin Feiyang, the double-winged snow eagle, and the pangolin were not much better off. Their life auras were rapidly declining. There was not much qi and blood left in their bodies. "Did you see that? We don't even need to do anything. They will be sucked dry by the sacred artifacts and die." The 3 middle-aged men sneered. "But what about that old thing?" Qin Feiyang placed his hopes on him. "His strength is definitely not weak." The 3 high priests were a little nervous. When they came, the old man in black had already destroyed his cultivation. So they knew nothing about the true cultivation of the old man in black. He must be very strong, but there is no need to worry. Yes, I don't believe that he is still a 9-star battle saint. The 3 middle-aged men were full of disdain. Hearing this, the 3 high priests finally breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly, a middle-aged man frowned and said, "But there is one thing that makes me a little puzzled." "What?" Several people looked at him in surprise. The middle-aged man said, Didn't the pagoda master of the 3rd district say that there is an unfathomable old woman in black by Qin Feiyang's side? Why didn't I see her? I also heard about it, but it seems that after snatching the heavenly sun flame, this old woman has not appeared again. The high priest of the Black Lion tribe said. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, as long as we can kill Qin Feiyang. As for the rest, the 2 pagoda masters will deal with it." The other 2 middle-aged men and the 3 high priests all nodded repeatedly. There was also a bright smile on their faces. During the conversation, another 10 breaths passed. Not to mention Lu Hong, even Qin Feiyang could not hold on. Their consciousness was fading away. And if their consciousness was gone, it was equivalent to being completely dead. Is it not done yet? The dual-winged snow eagle was extremely anxious. It felt that the aura of death had already enveloped it. Swish! Before his voice faded, the old man in black suddenly opened his eyes, 2 rays of light bursting out, and said, "I said it will only take 100 breaths, and it will only take 100 breaths. Quickly help." The dual-winged snow eagle was overjoyed and roared. Chapter 8:13. The black-clothed old man's voice was transmitted into Qin Feiyang's mind, exploding like thunder. Immediately, a trace of light appeared in his consciousness that had fallen into darkness, and he quickly woke up. "Are you done?" After waking up, Qin Feiyang was extremely weak. Looking at the black-clothed old man who was injecting blood into the Sky Thunder Sword, his eyes were somewhat confused. The black-clothed old man secretly said, "Yes, quickly give me the prolongation pill, or else I won't be able to recover my peak cultivation. Wait for me." Qin Feiyang's spirit was lifted, and he hurriedly took out a 4-pattern prolongation pill from his universe. What is he doing with the prolongation pill? Seeing this, the 6 people in the sky couldn't help but reveal a look of surprise. "You're right, I'm indeed not a 9-star battle saint, but to kill you, it's more than enough." The black-clothed old man coldly glanced at the 6 people, grabbed the prolongation pill, and directly threw it into his mouth. The pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth, and a surge of majestic energy immediately rushed towards his limbs and bones. Immediately, his entire body's aura began to soar. 2-star battle saint. 3-star battle saint. 4-star battle saint. Moreover, his appearance and body were rapidly changing. His white hair gradually turned black. His emaciated body gradually filled out. His turbid eyes slowly became clear, and there was a trace of joy in them. That's right. With the extension of his lifespan, his original state returned. In less than 5 breaths, his appearance had completely changed, and it was replaced by a burly man. His figure was tall and sturdy, and the muscles all over his body were bulging like horned dragons, filled with an explosive power. And his aura had already soared to that of a 7-star battle saint. How is this possible? Could he be? The 6 people's bodies and minds trembled, and their faces were filled with fear. That's right, I am an 8-star battle saint. The black-clothed old man said. No. His current appearance could no longer be called an old man. Before his voice faded, his aura suddenly soared to that of an 8-star battle master. Boom! Saint power surged, sweeping across the sky. At this moment, his black hair was flying, and his gaze was like lightning. He was like a god of war, emitting a shocking domineering aura. 8-star battle saint. Damn bastard, he's actually an 8-star battle saint. Run! The 6 of them were dumbfounded. When they came back to their senses, they immediately turned around and fled in panic. The brawny man didn't pursue them. Instead, he stretched out his hand and attacked with all his might. He actually forcibly severed the qi and blood of Qin Feiyang and the others. The difference between an 8-star battle saint and a 9-star battle saint was only one small realm. Although there was still a huge gap, it was still possible to cut off their vitality. Without the infusion of qi and blood, the heavenly thunder sword's light and saint aura quickly dissipated. However, it was impossible to spit out the qi and blood that had been plundered. As such, the current situation of Qin Feiyang and the others was almost at the end of their rope. After the brawny man cut off their qi and blood, they lay on the ground powerlessly. Lu Hong and the pangolin fell unconscious on the spot. The burly man frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. With the flame of life, I'll be able to recover quickly. Go capture them, but don't kill them. I want them alive," Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "Okay." The brawny man nodded and handed the flame of life to Qin Feiyang. Then, he leaped and turned into a stream of light, chasing after the 6 people. Qin Feiyang said, "By the way, what's your name?" "Yan Wei." The brawny man said without looking back. Soon, he disappeared from Qin Feiyang's sight. "Yan Wei," Qin Feiyang murmured. A trace of a smile gradually crept onto his aged face. It could be seen that this person had been influenced by him. All that he had done was not in vain. At the same time, with the help of the flame of life, the situation of Lu Hong, the pangolin, and the double-winged snow eagle began to gradually improve. As for Qin Feiyang, after fusing with a cluster of flame of life, he no longer needed other flames of life. He only needed to rest for a while to recover. After a while, the double-winged snow eagle could stand up alone. After all, its cultivation was higher than Qin Feiyang and the others. After getting up, it slapped the sky thunder sword with its claws and said angrily, "You bastard, do you know that you almost got us killed?" Qin Feiyang could not help but want to laugh. "And you, can't you think of a more reliable way next time? Aren't you getting us killed?" The double-winged snow eagle stared at Qin Feiyang and said angrily. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and admitted his mistake. This time, it was indeed his lack of consideration. No wonder the double-winged snow eagle scolded him. Whoosh! At this time, accompanied by the sound of something breaking through the air, Yan Wei and the 6 people landed on the peak of the mountain like lightning. At this moment, the 6 people were no longer as proud as before. Their faces were pale and full of fear. The double-winged snow eagle looked at the 6 people and lay down beside Qin Feiyang. It waved its wings and said, "You 6, come here." The 6 people shuddered and hurriedly crawled over. The double-winged snow eagle sneered and said, "You were so arrogant just now. No. How dare we compare with you? Uncle Eagle, Uncle Qin, we were wrong. Can you be magnanimous and let us go this time?" The 6 people knelt on the ground and begged in panic. "We were almost killed by you, and you want us to let you go? Are you dreaming?" The double-winged snow eagle said. "We know, it was our fault. But we were forced to do so. If we didn't listen, the 2 tower masters would definitely find a way to make things difficult for our tribe. If you want to settle the score, you should go to them." The 6 people panicked. "Don't worry, we will settle the score with them, but you won't have the chance to see it." The double-winged snow eagle sneered, and the killing intent in its eyes was undisguised. The 6 people trembled and their hearts were drowned in despair. Qin Feiyang said, "Did they say when they will take you out?" "In the morning in 3 days. One of the middle-aged men hurriedly said. 3 days? Qin Feiyang frowned, and said, "Can't you send a message?" "Immediately send a message to them and tell them that you have killed me." "You can send a message?" The 6 people were stunned. Yan Wei was also a little stunned. Qin Feiyang looked at the 6 people, then looked at Yan Wei and asked, "Can't I?" "No." Yan Wei shook his head. Qin Feiyang said, but I tried when I first entered here. You can send a message. Yan Wei said, you can, but you can only send a message to each other here. For example, I can send a message to you. So, you can't send a message to the outside world? Qin Feiyang said. Yes. Yan Wei nodded. I see. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, took out the image crystal, and sent a message to Fatso. Seeing this, Yan Wei asked suspiciously, you still have companions here? Qin Feiyang was startled, and said, haven't you been following us all the way? How could you not know? Yan Wei said, when I found you, there was only you and Shuang. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. It turned out that this person only discovered them after they separated from Fatso and Wolf King. Qin Feiyang said, there are 2 companions. Yan Wei asked, how strong are they? Qin Feiyang said, they haven't stepped into the War Saint realm yet, about the same as me. Yan Wei's face twitched, and said helplessly, if I had known earlier, I would have definitely followed them, and not you guys. Naive. Although they don't have any sacred artifacts on them, they still have treasures comparable to sacred artifacts. Moreover, they are much more ferocious than us. In your state at that time, if you went to find trouble with them, you would be courting death. The double-winged snow eagle mocked. A treasure comparable to a sacred artifact. Yan Wei froze. Why was this group of people more abnormal than the other? What's going on? At this time, Qin Feiyang's dissatisfied voice suddenly sounded. What's going on? The double-winged snow eagle was surprised. It's been so long, and Fatso still hasn't responded to me? Qin Feiyang frowned. That's not right. Fatso carries the image crystal with him, it's impossible for him not to sense it. Unless something happened to them. The double-winged snow eagle was shocked. Accident. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He looked up at the 6 people and said, do you have any other companions? No. The 6 of them shook their heads. No? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and looked at Yan Wei. Other than us, is there anyone else here? No. Yan Wei shook his head. Are you sure? Qin Feiyang asked. Yan Wei said, other than the giant peak in the center, I've been to all the other places, so I'm sure there's no one else. That's strange. Qin Feiyang frowned. Since there was no one else, why didn't Fatso respond? Suddenly, he found that the 6 people's expressions were a little strange. They were looking at each other, as if they were secretly communicating with each other. Qin Feiyang thought for a while, pointed at the 3 high priests, and said to Yan Wei, kill the 3 of them. What? The 3 of them changed color. Don't kill us, we said. The 3 of them seemed to want to say something, but Yan Wei didn't give them a chance. With a wave of his hand, a wave of battle chi rushed out, accompanied by shrill screams. The 3 of them died on the spot. Witnessing this scene, the 3 middle-aged men were also frightened out of their wits. Qin Feiyang looked at the 3 of them coldly and said, I'll give you one last chance. Is there anyone else who came with you? Yes, yes, yes. The 3 of them nodded hurriedly. Damn, how dare you lie to us? The double-winged snow eagle was furious. Qin Feiyang was also very angry, and said in a low voice, who? One of them said, they are the same as us, the leaders of the big tribes in the 4th district. Them? So, there are more than 1 or 2. Qin Feiyang's eyes became more and more terrifying. Yes, yes, yes. There are a total of 18 people, all of them are 1-star battle saints. When we came in, we didn't know where you were, so we divided into 4 groups and searched in 4 directions. The 3 of them said. Damn, so many people came, you really think highly of us. The double-winged snow eagle was dumbfounded. The 6 people in front of them, together with the 18 people, made a total of 24 people. Among them, 3 were 2-star battle saints, and 21 were 1-star battle saints. This lineup was too terrifying. The double-winged snow eagle looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Looks like you guessed right, these 2 pagoda masters have other intentions, otherwise they wouldn't have sent so many people to kill us." Qin Feiyang nodded and tried to send a message to Fatso and Wolf King, but there was still no response. His eyes darkened, and he decisively put away the image crystal. He stood up and looked at the double-winged snow eagle. "You go to the ancient castle to rest, and take care of Lu Hong and the pangolin." "Okay." The double-winged snow eagle nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the double-winged snow eagle, the pangolin, Lu Hong, and the flame of life disappeared without a trace. Ancient castle? Yan Wei's face was full of suspicion when he saw this. Qin Feiyang said, "I'll tell you more about the ancient castle later, first take me to my 2 companions." "Okay." Yan Wei nodded, and then pointed at the 3 middle-aged men and asked, "What about them?" "Keep them for now. If my 2 companions meet with misfortune, they won't be able to die even if they want to." Qin Feiyang paused after every word, and his eyes flashed with a terrifying light. Hearing this, the 3 men collapsed, their faces as pale as paper, and their hearts were filled with despair. Because they knew. No matter what the result was, Qin Feiyang would not let them go. Yan Wei looked at Qin Feiyang deeply. Although this young man was kind to the people around him, he could be cold-blooded and merciless to his enemies. He was not to be trifled with. "Which direction?" Yan Wei asked. "West." Qin Feiyang said. Whoosh. Chapter 8:14. As an 8-star battle saint, Yan Wei's speed was naturally much faster than Qin Feiyang's. In less than 200 breaths, the group returned to the place where Qin Feiyang had first appeared. Qin Feiyang scanned the area below and said in a deep voice, "This is the rendezvous point we agreed on in advance." Yan Wei sensed carefully and shook his head. "No one, they shouldn't have come back." "Continue." Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold as he said. Whoosh. With Yan Wei around, Qin Feiyang didn't have to worry about anything. He only needed to find traces of Fatso and Wolf King. Similarly, with the help of the fire of life, he didn't need to recover his qi and blood at all. In just 200 breaths, he had already recovered 1/3 of his qi and blood that had been plundered. His old appearance was also gradually becoming younger. Wait. After about 100 breaths, Qin Feiyang suddenly stretched out his hand and shouted. Yan Wei slammed on the brakes and stopped in the void. Qin Feiyang scanned the area below and his eyes darkened bit by bit. The glacier below was broken and in a mess. And the traces of battle were all brand new. It was enough to show that there had been a battle here not long ago. There was also a tragic atmosphere in the void. Qin Feiyang closed his eyes and sensed carefully for a moment. Then, he suddenly opened his eyes and a fierce light burst out. There were still obvious traces of battle in this place. And there were traces of Fatso and Wolf King's aura. Qin Feiyang glanced at the 3 middle-aged men and said to Yan Wei, "Follow the traces of battle and search." Understood. Yan Wei nodded. As the 4 of them continued their search, the remnants of the battle became more and more intense. Is it them? A moment later, Yan Wei suddenly pointed forward and said. Qin Feiyang raised his head to look. Immediately, he saw 6 indistinct figures in the void before him. But the distance was too far. With his eyesight, he couldn't see clearly. However, the 3 middle-aged men were all 2-star battle saints and could clearly see them. Hearing Yan Wei's words, one of them glanced at the backs of the 6 people and nodded. It's them. Yan Wei's speed was far faster than the 6 people. When the middle-aged man answered, the distance had closed by a large margin. This time, Qin Feiyang could also clearly see them. From the back, he could see that they were 6 middle-aged men. Their auras were very strong, and they had different degrees of injuries on their bodies. In front of the 6 people, there were 2 figures frantically fleeing. It was a man and a wolf. Both of them were drenched in blood and looked extremely miserable. That's right. They were Fatso and Wolf King, damn it. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists, and his eyes were filled with an astonishing killing intent. When the 3 middle-aged men saw the killing intent in Qin Feiyang's eyes, they couldn't help but shiver. But suddenly, Yan Wei frowned. His gaze went past Wolf King and Fatso and looked further ahead. He saw a giant mountain standing on the ground. That giant mountain towered into the clouds. It was completely black. From afar, it looked like a terrifying ferocious beast was lurking there, emitting a heart-palpitating aura. And Fatso and Wolf King were not far from that giant mountain. Quickly make them stop. Yan Wei hurriedly shouted. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang was bewildered. Yan Wei said in a deep voice, do you see that giant mountain? That's the strange giant mountain I told you about. What? Qin Feiyang's expression changed. He raised his head and looked at the giant mountain. His pupils constricted tightly. If it was before, he might still have a skeptical attitude. But now, Yan Wei was following him. It was impossible for him to lie to him. Fatso, white-eyed wolf, quickly avoid that giant mountain. He suddenly roared. His voice was as loud as a bell, resounding in all directions. Boss! Little Qin Zi. Fatso and Wolf King, who were running away, heard Qin Feiyang's voice. Their eyes were filled with ecstasy. At the same time, the 6 people who were chasing Fatso and Wolf King also stopped and turned to look at Qin Feiyang in surprise. These 6 people were from the 4th area. They had only seen Qin Feiyang's shadow. They had never seen him in person. So at this moment, when they saw Qin Feiyang in person, they were a little surprised. Because the illusory figure they saw was a very handsome young man. But now, the person who appeared in front of them was an old man with white hair. If it weren't for the fact that his face was very similar, they would never believe that the person in front of them was Qin Feiyang. But what surprised them the most was why the 3 middle-aged men were with Qin Feiyang. And they were all injured. Swish! Yan Wei led a few people over the heads of the 6 people like lightning and landed in front of Fatso and Wolf King. Qin Feiyang asked with concern, how are you guys? Wait. Don't ask us first. Tell us what happened to you first. Fatso and Wolf King were surprised. Qin Feiyang's current appearance really scared them. Qin Feiyang sighed, it's a long story. I'll tell you later. Fatso pointed to Yan Wei and the 3 middle-aged men and said, then who are they? His name is Yan Wei. He's one of us. As for these 3, they're the same as them. They're here to kill us. Qin Feiyang briefly introduced Yan Wei, then turned to look at the 6 people in front of him, his eyes shining with a cold light. One of us? Fatso and Wolf King looked at each other. Why didn't they know that there was such a person on their side? What the hell is going on? At the same time, the 6 people looked at Qin Feiyang and Yan Wei, then looked at the 3 middle-aged men and asked. The 3 of them felt bitter in their hearts and really didn't know what to say. They are now my prisoners. The high priests of the Black Lion, Red Smoke, and Songhai tribes have also died. Qin Feiyang said. Impossible. With their strength, even if you have a saint weapon, you won't be their match. Tell me honestly, did you take the initiative to submit to Qin Feiyang? The 6 people shouted at the 3 middle-aged men. Don't slander us. Look at us now. Do we look like we took the initiative to submit to him? The three of them were furious. They were already full of grievances, but they didn't expect to be doubted by their companions. This was too much. If that's the case, then you really, the 6 people murmured, their faces still filled with disbelief. 3 2-star battle saints and 3 1-star battle saints were actually annihilated? This was really hard for them to accept. Let's go. However, when the 6 people came to their senses, they immediately turned around and fled in panic. Don't run, it's useless. Because this Yan Wei is an 8-star battle saint. This time, we'll all die. The 3 middle-aged men sighed helplessly. 8-star battle saint. Hearing this, the 6 people's faces instantly turned pale. No wonder they were completely annihilated. It turned out that Qin Feiyang had such a terrifying expert hiding by his side. But didn't the Tower Master say that Qin Feiyang only had an old woman by his side? Moreover, that old woman had already disappeared. How did this burly man jump out? Fatso and Wolf King were also surprised. 8-star battle saint. Where did Qin Feiyang find such a terrifying guy? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and nodded at Yan Wei. Yan Wei understood, and his saintly might roared out. Without any suspense, the 6 of them were immediately confined in the void. Wolf King's pupils shrank. He moved closer to Qin Feiyang and whispered, "Little Qin Zi, who is he? Is he reliable?" "Very reliable." Qin Feiyang smiled. Yan Wei glanced at Wolf King, then looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "How should we deal with them?" Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered. Suddenly, he turned around and looked at the giant mountain. His eyes flashed and he said, "I want to see how strange that giant mountain is." Understood. Yan Wei didn't say much, but his methods were extremely terrifying. With a gentle wave of his hand, the 6 people fell uncontrollably in front of the giant mountain. Qin Feiyang and the others also fell behind the 6 people and looked up at the giant mountain. The giant mountain was about 50,000 feet high. There were no flowers or trees. It was completely bare. But at the foot of the mountain in front of them, there was a black stone staircase. It was modeled like a giant python, winding all the way to the top of the mountain. "Go up!" Yan Wei shouted. The 6 people looked at each other in surprise. What they knew about the Black Dragon Glacier was that it was very dangerous. And they knew nothing about the hidden danger of this giant mountain. Therefore, now they were very puzzled. Why didn't Qin Feiyang kill them directly, but let them climb this giant mountain? "As long as you can successfully reach the top of the mountain, I will let you go," Qin Feiyang said. Really? The 6 people were overjoyed. Although this giant mountain seemed mysterious, they didn't sense any danger. So in their opinion, this was a hope. "I always keep my word," Qin Feiyang said. Hearing that, the 3 middle-aged men next to him looked at each other, and also looked at Qin Feiyang, and asked, "Can we also give it a try?" "Sure." Qin Feiyang nodded. "So straightforward?" The 3 of them were stunned and couldn't help but glance at the giant mountain suspiciously. Could it be that there was some mystery hidden in this giant mountain? But they also knew that they had no other choice now. If they didn't go, they would definitely die in the end. If they went, they might be able to fight for a way out. Phew! The 3 of them took a deep breath, strode to the front of the stone stairs, and went up one after another. The 6 people also followed closely behind them and stepped on the stone stairs. 1 step. 3 steps. 7 steps. Soon, the 9 people stepped on the 10th step, but there was no life taken as Yan Wei said. "What's going on?" Qin Feiyang turned to look at Yan Wei, his eyes full of confusion. "Don't worry." Yan Wei only said this sentence, and then fell silent, but looking at the backs of the 9 people, his eyes were flickering. After a few more steps, the three middle-aged men finally breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that there was no danger. Immediately, the three of them turned their heads at the same time, coldly glanced at Qin Feiyang, and then rushed to the top of the mountain at full speed. Just as the 9 people stepped on the 20th step, Yan Wei's eyes flashed, and said, "Pay attention to their appearance." Qin Feiyang looked at Yan Wei suspiciously, raised his head and carefully observed the 9 people. "I say, can you stop keeping us in suspense? Can't you just say it?" Wolf King and Fatso glared at the two of them angrily, completely not understanding what the two of them were talking about. "It's here."